this webinar today, so really excited about that. Thank you very much for giving up your time, albeit there's a certain amount of this going on at the moment, so we're going to try and fill some time for you, but also give you some great value that'll help you in your financial advice business. We're planning to do about 2 hours today. But if anybody has to jump off for any particular reason, because you have registered, you will get a video copy of today's webinar. I hadn't planned for my dog to be participating in the presentation today, but there's a high probability that she will, and I'm sure we'll all enjoy that when that moment comes. Feel free to ask any questions. I pretty well can anticipate what questions will be asked because they are typically asked. But if you ask a question in the Q&A and I don't actually get to it, don't worry, I will get back to you personally. So please feel free to ask questions as you go. So we're going to crack on, no time wasting, let's hit it. We're going to have a little quiz at the end. If you stick around to the end, I'm going to ask a question that is based on today's presentation. Just email me your answer, please, to that address, and I'll give you a reminder of that address later on. And we'll send you quite a nice prize. So pay attention and please do take notes. But as I said, you will get a copy of the recording. We'll also give you a copy of the slides if that will help you as well. So first of all, let me just introduce myself to those that don't know me. I run Life Talk, the Facebook group for financial advisors. I've been working with financial advisors for best part, well, over 40 years now. Half of it on the sales and marketing side with various providers. I was head of national accounts for Zurich Life, head of sales for Pioneer Friendly, head of sales for Permanent Insurance as well. But the day came when I was made redundant. I think I was with Liverpool Victoria at the time. And I thought the time had come to go out on my own. And so for the last 20 years, I've been an independent sales and marketing consultant and a speaker. I predominantly work in regulated industries, so not just financial advisors, but law, accountancy, pharmaceutical as well. I also created the world's first online networking platform in financial services. We'll explain a little bit more about why that's relevant in due course. I've written 20 books. Yes, you can find them all on Amazon, and quite a few of them are aimed at financial advisors. And just by a little bit of background, I've been a rock concert photographer in my late teens, early 20s. I was out there, I used to blag a press pass at the Hammersmith Odeon in London. And I used to photograph mostly the rock groups, the heavy metal bands, absolutely loved it. And my little known claim to fame is that I officially, quite a few years ago now, was appointed the world's best gin and tonic maker. I entered a competition and barmen and women from all around the world descended on a hotel in London, and I won the prize for the world's best gin and tonic. And yes, there is a secret recipe to it. Just drop me a line if that's something you'd like to know more about. Okay, so how do I get into LinkedIn? It goes back to about 2003. I'd just been made redundant. I realized that I'd got to get out there, do some networking. I had already joined the Professional Speaking Association. So I went along to a meeting in Leatherhead, I think it was. It was run by this gentleman on the left, Reg Athwell. One or two of you may know him. And I'd literally gone at the very last minute. I had no idea who was speaking that particular evening, but I did all the networking, which was great. And I sat down waiting for the presentation to start, sat down next to this lady, Tessa Hood. And I said, Tessa, who's the presenter tonight? And she said, oh, it's a guy called Andrew from Academy. And I'd never heard of Academy. And she said, oh yeah, Academy is it's a new type of website. And the idea is that you create a profile. And if you've just gone self-employed, you ought to use it, you'll get business. And this kind of got my attention, said I'd never heard of Academy, I'd never heard of Andrew. And for the next hour, Andrew from this website called Academy just opened my eyes to something that was completely new, that no one had really done before other than Academy. And I know that there'll be one or two of you watching this today who will remember Academy. Academy was the forerunner to LinkedIn. The Academy first appeared in 1998. It was the world's first B2B and a certain amount of B2C social networking platform. And the idea was you created a profile and that you could network with other people online. Now, having come from a financial services background, and given that I was about to launch myself as a self-employed marketing consultant, I thought this was going to be pretty valuable. I just had a hunch that this idea of online networking was going to be something that was going to catch on. LinkedIn appeared in about 2003, but Academy was going strong back in 1998. And I went home that particular evening thinking, my goodness me, this is really clever, and I'm really going to throw myself into it. And so literally ever since that particular evening, I've been fairly obsessed with the concept of online social networking, and we'll explore social networking in a minute or two. And you could create groups on Academy as well. And so I created a group for financial advisors. And I know that today there are one or two people in our Life Talk group on Facebook or in our LinkedIn group who actually joined that original group that we set up for financial advisors on Academy. Okay, so if we are going to have any rules today for today's presentation, I think that the most important one is to have an open mind. I know that a lot of you are on LinkedIn, but I know that you're not quite sure why you're on LinkedIn. You're probably not getting a whole lot of business out of it. So open minds to try new things, to be curious, and also to create curiosity. I'll explain what I mean by the importance of creating curiosity a little bit later. If you have been using social media or you've used LinkedIn, you say it doesn't really work, I'm not quite sure why I'm on this webinar today, I've got time to kill. I'd like you to just sort of reframe that a bit and think, okay, well, what's the opportunity here? Maybe I've missed something. Please do ask for feedback. As I said, ask questions, come to me directly if you like. And I'm going to ask you to put some trust into this as well. What I'm going to show you today works. I've had financial advisors tell me that the very first time they tried some of the techniques that I teach about how to use LinkedIn, the very first time they attracted high quality new pension investment clients. And this also is applicable to you guys and girls who do protection and mortgages as well. But please trust what I'm going to show you because it works. It's as simple as that. I think right now, there's a lot of people thinking about their business, whether they are part of somebody else's business or whether they have their own business as a financial advisor. Now is really a great time to take stock of the value that you offer as a financial advisor and to really think closely about that. And if you're not already doing so, to start making plans for the future. And the future could be next year, it could be a few weeks' time, it could be a few months' time. But it really is now is the time to take a good, long, hard look at who you are as a financial advisor, what it is that you offer, what's your primary area of expertise, who are your ideal clients, and how do you serve them. And the reason I suggest we do this is because LinkedIn is the most phenomenal platform that will help you to share that value that you've got. It's also a time now to do a stock take of your marketing as well. As I said, if you are with a larger firm, it may well be that they do your marketing for you, but there's an awful lot of marketing that you can do for yourself. And to really think about what's actually worked for you over the last few months or the last few years, and actually write that down. You know, if we're in business and clients seem to be coming through the door still, there's a tendency not to think about this kind of stuff, but it's well worth the time to actually sit down with a clean sheet of paper and think, well, what have I done and what am I doing that has actually worked? And why has it worked? And also to think about what's not worked. Have I fallen into this idea that, oh, perhaps I should be using social media, and perhaps I should be using Twitter, and perhaps I should be doing this, and perhaps I should be doing that, and it hasn't actually worked. Now's the time to be honest about it and say, actually, this has been a waste of time, and to start crossing things off that you don't need to do as you go forward. And also to think about, what are you doing in your business that's not actually adding value to your clients right now? Adding value to existing clients, adding value to new clients, adding value to your professional introducers, And again, what are you actually doing? Where are you wasting time? I think in today's shiny IT world of social media, it's so tempting to get drawn into something, into this, the shiny new syndrome, shiny new thing syndrome, and think, oh, that's going to help me, I'll give that a go. And really now is a great time to strip everything back and get down to basics. What works, what doesn't work, who are my target clients, and how can I help them? And to come up with this clear vision of where we want to be in a few years' time, what sort of clients do we want to have in an ideal world. And for the vast majority of financial advisors who are on this today, you're on it probably because you want to learn a bit more about LinkedIn, but there's a fair chance that you're on it because you have a suspicion that some of your ideal clients will be on LinkedIn. Now, if your target market is older people in their 80s, then there's a good chance that they're not on LinkedIn, but your activities on LinkedIn will make you more or less referable, as the case may be. So just because your ideal target client isn't on LinkedIn, there are people on the platform who can introduce you. And we all know how important that introductions and referrals are. So let's just put a bit more meat on the bones now and think about, how do financial advisors typically attract new business? Well, I think most of us know that referrals are the most popular way that we get business. Now, if we go back a few years before the internet, if we were at a dinner party, or we were in the pub, or we were with some friends, and we're just chatting away, we're really enjoying the dinner party, and at some point the question of, I don't know, personal finance comes up, as it does, and it may well be that somebody round the table says, I'm looking for a financial advisor at the moment. Does anybody know anybody? And there's a good chance that your host or someone else sitting around the table will say, well, yeah, you want to check out my financial advisor, Jones & Co. They're fantastic. They've looked after us for years. You want to give them a call. So what you would do is you would write Jones & Co. down on the napkin, and you'd write their telephone number down, and the next day you'd phone them up. That referral from someone around the table was usually good enough for you to think, okay, it's good enough for them, I'll give them a call. And that's typically what happened, and Jones & Co. would end up with a new client. But if we do that, go to that dinner party again today, things are a little bit different. Again, we're sitting around the table, someone says, I need to get my pension ducks in a row. And someone around the table said, well, you want to check out my financial advisor, jonesandco.com. They're great. They've looked after us really well. So you would now write down jonesandco.com, and you'd write their website address down on the napkin. And the next day, you wouldn't phone them up. The next day, you go onto the internet first, just to check Jones & Co.'s website, check they actually exist, see what they look like. What sort of sense do you get of them? Do I like the look of them? So this is what we tend to do now. We don't just phone up just because somebody gives us a referral. We go online first. We want to check them out. And an interesting thing happens when we go online. We're looking for Jones & Co., but hey-ho, when we do that search on Google, we see there's a whole load of other financial advisors locally that maybe we ought to check them out as well. So we don't just look at Jones & Co.'s website, we look at Smith & Co.'s website, and we look at somebody else's website. And then we discover, surprise, surprise, that all those financial advisors' websites all look the same. They all say exactly the same thing. They follow very, very similar themes. They all use the same wording. And then while we're trawling around on the internet, it may well be that we find a blog, or we find another service, and we think, well, hold on, maybe I don't need to go talk to a financial advisor. Maybe I can sort this out for myself. Maybe I can get the information I need for myself. Maybe there's a robo service. I don't know, but maybe there's a blog. Maybe there's some information that somebody is providing. I'm thinking to myself, perhaps I don't need to go see Jones & Co. or any other financial advisor for that matter. Perhaps I can figure this out for myself. So I think we're getting to a point now where, as a profession, we are becoming a bit over-reliant on referrals. And we need to start taking this internet thing a bit more seriously, because it is influencing the degree to which we are receiving referrals or not, as the case may be. Now, there are some trusted, tried and tested marketing strategies, tactics, that actually already work for financial advisors. And typically the top strategies for top performing advisors, or advisors that are doing quite well, been around for a while, yes, referrals at the top of the list, published books, so that's writing your own book or creating your own digital products. Many of the top performing financial advisors, particularly in the United States and Australia, have written their own books. In the UK, you can count the number of financial advisors who've published their own book on one hand, to be quite honest. Yet a book is the best business card you will ever have. And my goodness, will that differentiate you from other financial advisors? When they are people are looking at your websites, if they can see you've got your own book, that says something about you, yeah? And number 3, seminars and client events. Those of you that know me will know that I'm a huge advocate of seminars. As far as I'm concerned, seminars are the single most effective form of marketing for financial advisors. That's for another webinar. Paid web listings, professional introducers, LinkedIn's on the list there, search engine optimization, having a funnel website. We'll explain a little bit more about that as we go, and also hiring agencies and consultants. So those are the top strategies for top performing advisors. For financial advisors that are perhaps new or maybe struggling or need a bit of help, there's this list. Referrals, top of the list. Introducers, high up the list. Paid local advertising, although this internet thing allows us to theoretically do business with anybody anywhere, most financial advisors get most of their business locally. So local advertising in local magazines, local newspapers, local sponsorships, that kind of thing are very, very effective. Paid web listings, seminars and client events, networking events like BNI, NRG, or even putting on your own networking events as well, or just going to a variety of trade shows, that sort of thing. LinkedIn, content, that's blogs, articles, and we're starting to see published books. It's actually pretty easy to write your own book and create your own book and publish it yourself. And what I call old school non-digital stuff, sponsoring roundabouts, being on the radio, these sort of things, car stickers, are actually very, very effective. So you might find some ideas there. Which ones are common to both lists? Referrals, introducers, seminars, introducers, and LinkedIn. Okay. If you really do want to major on referrals, but actually want to do referrals better than you are now, I strongly recommend this book here by a guy called Bill Cates. Bill is the world's leading expert on how to generate more referrals, and he specializes in helping financial advisors to do this. This book will, if you think you're already quite good at referrals, this book will put you in the big league, because it teaches you how to get more but better referrals. It teaches you how to make yourself more referable. And you could actually hop off this webinar right now. If you wanted to really commit yourself to getting really good at referrals, you need never do any other marketing ever again. There's a right way to do referrals, and then there's an even better way to do referrals. So I strongly recommend this resource. You can get it at Amazon there. Now, what about social media? What about other types of marketing? Shouldn't we be doing this? There's a lot of people who teach marketing will have you believe that this is what we all need to be doing. Yeah, we all need to have a podcast. We all need to have a YouTube channel. We should have our own membership site. We should have our own Facebook group. We should be doing email newsletters. We should be thinking about voice activated tools. We should be using Twitter and so on, and we should be doing all of this all of the time. And the idea that we took this concept of content marketing, I get it. High quality content is important. But unfortunately, there's so many different things that we could do. We get dragged down these roads thinking, well, I'll do a bit of this and I'll do a bit of that and I'll do a bit of this over here and I'll try that, give that a go as well. It is just nonsense. I'm all for experimentation in marketing. That's the great thing about the internet and digital technology. But the idea that you should be doing all of this kind of stuff is absolutely nonsense. So don't let anyone get this idea across that you should be doing all of this, or that you should be doing the majority of this kind of stuff. Really what we should be thinking about is our perfect dream ideal client, and to write that down. They call it the perfect client avatar. And then think about, well, where do those people actually hang out? If they hang out on YouTube, and you can prove that they hang out on YouTube, then go at YouTube, yeah? If you can prove that all they do is listen to podcasts all the time, then go at podcasts. You've got to get some real focus onto this stuff, really important. And here's another fantastic book to get you focus. And it's called The One Thing. If you've not already read it, it's absolutely superb. It is a book to read now during the current coronavirus pandemic. It is a book that will give you so much focus, whether it's focus on your marketing, whether it's focus on a particular target market, whether it's focus on a particular aspect of your business, or focus on a particular type of client. This book will give you that focus. So while we are doing that stock take of our business, that stock take of our marketing, read this book alongside it, and it really, really will give you crystal clear focus. So I get this one all the time. Financial advisors say to me, Phil, Jones and Co down the road, they're using Instagram. Perhaps we should give that a go. And Smith and Co down the road, they're using a Facebook page. Perhaps we should give that a go. And another financial advice firm down the road, they're using Twitter quite a lot. Perhaps we should give that a go. And I kind of say, give that a go isn't a strategy. As I said, I'm fine with a bit of experimentation as part of a strategy, but give that a go is not a strategy. It is not a plan that will ever work. We get so obsessed with the technology of marketing, when it is my fervent belief that this has nothing to do with technology, but it has everything to do with technique, how we use it. And this is the theme that I'm going to really explore as we look at LinkedIn. Just by being on LinkedIn alone, you should actually be receiving inquiries out of the blue from complete strangers. And I'll explain a bit more about that as we go. But most of us aren't. It's how we use it. And LinkedIn, at the end of the day, is like any other piece of software that you might use in your business, whether it's your CRM system, the RAP platform you happen to use, whatever it is. Unless you've been trained how to use it, you will never, and I promise you, you will never see the true benefits that can come out from it. So by technique, it's really, really important that we establish the difference between social networking and social media. As I mentioned earlier, when I first discovered Academy, it was all about social networking. Human beings interacting, engaging, supporting, and helping each other out. In many ways, as the years have gone by, we have sacrificed social networking for this thing called social media. Yes, there is a little bit of networking going on social media, but for the most part, it's just noise. It is a never-ending stream of disruptive, interruptive noise that distracts us every single day. And when we start going back to the basics, this basic concept of networking with one another rather than broadcasting at one another, then we start to see the magic happening. And here's a really important thing. LinkedIn, in recent times, and by that I mean in the last 3 months, something like that, is now starting to reward users for networking as opposed to broadcasting. You know, the worst type of status update that we see on LinkedIn is people going, hey, check out my latest blog, click here. That is social media. That is broadcasting. That is not networking. So as we go through this, I'll explain more about how you can do that and how you can get the attention of the LinkedIn algorithm so that it will reward you. And basically, when I say reward you, it means it will put you higher in the search results. It will make your content much, much more visible. So let's just start to dig a little bit deeper. If we're thinking about we want more clients, we've got to think about the concept of a value ladder. And right now, where we're doing a stock take of our value, we need to start building a value ladder. And I'll explain more about that as we go. We need to get more traffic to our website, but more importantly, we need to convert the traffic that does come to our website, and we need to leverage and build community. The best place you will find community is actually LinkedIn or in Facebook groups, and we need to know how to actually use those to get attention so that people want to take a closer look at us. One of the biggest problems with the financial advice world is that we all look the same. If you know, as I said earlier, when we look at financial advisors' websites, they all say the same thing. I can do a party piece at conferences where I can write the About Us page for pretty well any financial advisor in the country. They'll be pleased with it and they'll pay me. And I can do that because they all say the same thing. If you walk down any high street, you'll find that one firm of accountants looks the same as another, one firm of lawyers looks the same as another, one firm of estate agents looks the same as another, one firm of financial advisors looks the same as another. And you might say, Phil, that's a bit unfair. We are different from Jones & Co. down the road, and I'm sure you are. In fact, I know you are. I've met tens of thousands of financial advice firms over the years, and I've been in the premises of tens of thousands of financial advice firms over the years, and you are all different. But now that we're all online, suddenly we all look the same. You are not paid to look and behave like another financial advisor. Only the lady on the right here is paid to look and behave like another brand. Yeah, in this case, Audrey Hepburn. The lady on the right is a professional lookalike. She's hired by corporates to stand on their booth at conferences and exhibitions, and people go up and they want to have a selfie. You know all that sort of stuff, yeah? But none of you listening to this are paid to look and behave like another brand. Now, one thing my dad said to me years and years ago, I'm sure you've heard it before, the concept that people buy people. They always have done, and they always will do. And they do online as well. So it's really, really important that we can differentiate ourselves online so that people can get a sense of who we are, what we're about, our professionalism, our credibility. Are we likable? Are we helpful? Are we supportive? Do we engage? All that good stuff. So you're all on LinkedIn. I know you are. You know, every conference I speak at, I always ask people to put their hands up if they're on LinkedIn. And almost everybody puts their hands up. Then I say to people, now put your hands up if you know why you're on LinkedIn. And guess what? Hardly anybody puts their hands up. Maybe you were looking for a job at one particular point. I don't know. But what most of us are doing on LinkedIn is wasting our time. You know what it's like, whether you go on the desktop or whether you go on the app. You go on there, you see the news feed, it's kind of relevant. There's a lot of people linking to their blogs or showing some video or something like that. Then you see the little red icon at the top. You think, well, maybe somebody sent me a message, or maybe somebody wants to connect with me. And so we go and have a look at there, and sure enough, 2 or 3 people want to connect with you. And then we think, oh, should I be connecting with this person? I don't know. What's the right thing to do? What's the wrong thing to do? Then we might go and have a look at a group that we're a member of, and there's not much going on in there, a bit of spam by the looks of it. But then we think, well, should we post something on our company page? We're not quite sure what to do. And it's just a lot of time wasting. If we get nothing else out of this webinar today, I'd like you to look at LinkedIn in a completely new way and to write a plan. Literally, and I will show you my plan. It can be the back of an envelope job, but just get something down. And there are lots of different reasons why you might be using LinkedIn. Not all of you watching this webinar today will be on LinkedIn to attract new clients. There may be other reasons why, but you need to get some focus and write down why you're on LinkedIn. And guess what? As soon as you get that focus, then you get so much more value out of the platform. So there are still people that think LinkedIn's a job site, and sure, LinkedIn still, make a lot of money from advertising jobs. So that's one of the things that LinkedIn does for people. But what actually is it? In fact, I'm just going to put both of these up here. LinkedIn's anything you want it to be. What they're actually trying to do, their strategy, LinkedIn's owned by Microsoft. LinkedIn's strategy is to try and make itself an indispensable business site. Whether you are looking for jobs or whether you are advertising jobs, whether you want to post articles and blogs, whether you want to try and attract new clients, whether you want to put your corporate numbers on there, whether you want to read the news, whatever you want to do on LinkedIn, whatever you want to do in business, LinkedIn's trying to make itself absolutely indispensable. They don't want you leaving the platform to go visit other websites. Now, you can't do everything on LinkedIn. You can't do everything in business on LinkedIn, but you can do a huge amount. But one of the most important things that so many people fail to realize about LinkedIn is that it is a search engine. It is the people and expertise search engine. People are using it all the time to find experts like you guys. Really important. But the thing is, for the vast majority of people, you're not using LinkedIn correctly. You don't have a plan. You haven't optimized your profile. So finding you in amongst the crowd is extremely difficult. So we want to make sure that you rise to the top and get found. And if you follow the stuff I'm going to show you today, I guarantee you will see an immediate and measurable improvement in your visibility on LinkedIn. I guarantee you will see more people visiting your profile. And that's the first step. So, fact, if you're on LinkedIn, you're marketing yourself. And as I said a little earlier, if you're not already receiving inquiries out of the blue from complete strangers, then arguably you're not marketing yourself well enough. So we're going to show you how to do that. And let's just give a broad overview of what actually happens. And let's kind of show a route map of how somebody may end up talking to you and how they may end up becoming a client. So you've got your profile, you set up your profile, you optimize it with keywords. We'll talk about this. You do some stuff on LinkedIn, liking, sharing, commenting, and so on. And you also use hashtags as well. We'll explain a bit more about hashtags as we go. So there you are. You're on LinkedIn. You're all set up. We can now sit back. And you will be in the LinkedIn search machine, okay? And on LinkedIn, there are people using the LinkedIn search machine, searching for people who have the expertise that you have. So let's say there are some LinkedIn members every single minute of every single day. People are using the search box and they do a search. It could be for mortgage expert, inheritance planning, whatever it could be. And let's say you appear in the search results, top or pretty high up, you pop out and you've got their attention. So what then happens is the people who've done the search, they will then want to get in touch with you, or at the very least, they'll have a look at your profile. And if your profile is not fully complete, it hasn't got a photo, then you might as well not be on LinkedIn. So that's the first point. You must fill out your profile, okay? But assuming they like the look of you, what's going to happen is they're going to connect with you or they're going to communicate. They'll send you a message through the system. And then you might send them a message. And then really what we're trying to do is to get to a point where we actually take the messaging off LinkedIn. There is only so far that you can go. So you'll do a bit of messaging and then you might end up on the phone, or you might have a Skype call, or you might even go and have a coffee somewhere. That's really the big goal for most people, yeah? Do a little bit of messaging and then take it off LinkedIn at some point. I do know financial advisors who have had people approach them via the search engine and have said, I found you, I see that you're local to me, can we get together straight away? So people are actually attracting, financial advisors are actually attracting business simply by optimizing their profile. And as a result of that coffee, if things go well, hopefully they'll end up as a client, and you might end up best friends forever, and you'll end up in a champagne bar. But that is, broadly speaking, the route map that can lead to business. What we're going to focus on in this particular webinar today is the helping you to get found bit, and also how you actually communicate. What are the right and the wrong ways to communicate with people? That's what we're going to focus on. It's also really important as well, again, just like any other software in your business, it gets updated, like apps get updated on your mobile phone. LinkedIn is constantly changing. They're constantly adding new features. They also take features out. So it's really important that you stay on top of this sort of thing. I've got another Facebook group which is only for people who are interested in LinkedIn. If you want to know what's going on LinkedIn, it's called LinkedIn Secrets. Look out for that, and you'll be kept up to date on what's happening on the site. Now, right now is a time, as I said, for taking stock of where we are. And I know for a fact that because I've spoken to many financial advisors over the last 3 or 4 weeks, and those financial advisors who work in some larger firms have found that their new leads coming in have dropped off a cliff. No new business at all. I'm a speaker and a trainer, And in the speaking and training world, there is no business going on other than remote stroke online training. So there are no conferences to speak at, no live training events to speak at. They've all been moved online as well. So I have adjusted my LinkedIn profile and how I position myself on LinkedIn specifically for these new, the current situation that we're on. So it's something to think about. If you can offer online financial advice, or you can do financial planning or cash flow modeling or whatever it is that you do, and you can do that online, then make that clear on your LinkedIn profile and put it up front and central, so that those people who are concerned about their finances right now, and we all know that there are people out there who are concerned about their investments and their savings, and maybe they don't actually have a financial advisor yet, but they will be using LinkedIn as a search engine, and maybe they're looking for people who can help them. So make it clear on your LinkedIn profile that this is the sort of service that you offer as well. Now, this is crucial at any time, in any kind of market, for anybody marketing themselves, but it's even more important right now that you are ultra clear about who you are targeting as a financial advisor. And you should know, what are they usually worried about? What are they worried about today? You should know what they are thinking about right now in the current circumstances. But equally, you need to know what excites them. Where do they hang out? Again, this concept of the perfect client avatar, which I think is a bit of a fancy expression, but at the end of the day, it is knowing and being crystal clear about who your perfect, ideal, dream client is all about. Now, if you already are active in a niche, maybe you only deal with heart surgeons in West London, then you will be pretty clear about what they're usually worried about. You will know what they're worried about today. You will know what they're thinking about right now. You'll know the sports and hobbies they like. You'll know what newspapers they read. You'll know in excruciating detail they are. Now, not every financial advisor has a niche like that, but most financial advisors got a reasonably clear idea of who their perfect dream client is if they walked in through the door right now. And you want to write that down. And you also want to position your LinkedIn profile, and indeed your website, to speak to them. Literally position your LinkedIn profile so that it speaks to your perfect, ideal dream client. Now, we all know that the perfect, ideal dream client isn't knocking on our door all the time, every day. But what happens is, when you position yourself on your LinkedIn for your perfect dream client, those people will spot you, they'll find you, but the people who aren't quite your perfect dream client, they will also spot you as well, and they will aspire to want to work with you. So now is the time to be really thinking about this. And I don't just want any old client who turns up. What I want is this particular client, and position your LinkedIn profile, aim it at them. And when you do that, it gives your profile so much more focus. And so you will then appear higher in search results. Now, for those of you who know that you've got clients who are probably already are on LinkedIn, and even if you target older people who are not on LinkedIn, there are people who are on LinkedIn who are in a position to refer you. So you need to know where they are on LinkedIn, what groups do they hang out in. You need to really divert their attention just long enough so that they come and look at your profile, which is essentially your story. And they need to make them an offer. And that offer is usually just a phone call or a Skype call. Your prospects are on LinkedIn. You've got to get their attention. And you've got to get their attention long enough so that we can have a conversation. Remember I said earlier, it's got nothing to do with the technology. It's got everything to do with the technique. And it's how we engage with people that really makes the difference. Okay, so LinkedIn's huge. We're approaching 700 million members now. It's still dwarfed by Facebook, but the good news is that that's 700 million individual people who all have personal finance issues. Now, they won't all be your perfect dream clients by any stretch of the imagination, but a lot of people say to me, "Oh, isn't LinkedIn just a business audience?" Well, yeah, it's got something like 20 million business pages on there, but it's got almost 700 million individual people who all need the help and advice of a financial advisor, whether that's face-to-face financial planning or whether it's something you've written in a blog or an article or a video you've created. They all have an interest in personal finance one way or another. Now, LinkedIn has proven time and time again to produce leads if you get your profile right. I'm going to go into that in a second. Compared with, say, Twitter or Facebook, when someone looks at your LinkedIn profile, you are significantly more likely to end up in a conversation that will lead to some business being written. Also, out of all the social networking platforms that are out there, all the social media tools that are out there, if you fill in your LinkedIn profile correctly and in detail and you use the platform, LinkedIn profiles appear highest out of all the social networking platforms in Google search results. So there's a double benefit there. Yes, you'll attract business on LinkedIn itself, but your LinkedIn profile will also appear high in Google search results, again, expanding your reach across the internet. When you ask people, how has LinkedIn helped you? These are the responses in order of popularity. So the number one response was to research people and companies. There we are. There's the proof that people are using it as a search engine. To reconnect with past associates and colleagues, that's an obvious. I mean, there are plenty of people I would rather not reconnect with, but it's a valuable and useful thing to do. Now, the third one here, build relationships with people who could influence potential customers. There's an interesting thing. Now, what that is saying is it's the people, you know, you might, someone might look at your profile, you might get into a conversation with them. There's a high probability that if the conversation goes well, they might end up becoming a client. But what's more likely to happen is that they will introduce you to someone they know. So it's that second and third degree relationship, which is all important. Increase the effectiveness of face-to-face networking. So maybe you met somebody at a networking event or at a conference or an exhibition. You can then go check them out on LinkedIn. Build relationships directly with prospects, improve your branding, find job opportunities, all that good stuff there as well. So fundamentally, it's about you being used as a search engine. And again, compared with Facebook and Twitter, Google Plus doesn't exist anymore. Making professional connections, LinkedIn way ahead. Improving the effectiveness of my referral network, LinkedIn way ahead. Building my brand identity, way ahead. Cultivating client prospects, way ahead, and so on and so forth. So LinkedIn is an incredibly powerful tool. We're just not yet making the most of it, so we need a bit more detail. Now, here's something else that I found quite interesting. I did some research. I looked at the stats on my own website, and I discovered that people who come to my website via LinkedIn stay on my website for a lot longer than everybody else. So they stick around for 10 minutes if they've come via LinkedIn, and everybody else will stick around for 4 minutes. The bounce rate is the percentage of people who arrive on your website and then leave without looking at a second page. Now, anything below 25% on any website is pretty good. So you can see the bounce rate for people who come via LinkedIn is ridiculously low. And this is because part of my strategy on LinkedIn is to send people to my website. Remember I said, we can only go so far in the relationship on LinkedIn. At some point, we've got to get them off LinkedIn and take them somewhere else. It could be to Skype, it could be to email, it could be to a webinar, it could be to your website. So one of my strategies is once I'm in conversation with people on LinkedIn, I want them to go to my website. And I have written my website for people who come to it from LinkedIn. So we need to be thinking about this as part of our plan. If we communicate with people on LinkedIn, where are the places that we want to send them? And as I said, it could be to Skype, it could be to email, it could be to the telephone, it could just as equally be your website. Okay, let's dig a little bit deeper. Fundamentally on LinkedIn, there are 3 core themes to the platform, and then there are 10 core elements within it. And these are the 3 themes: your identity and reputation, networking, and knowledge. And when I say identity and reputation, that is your personal identity and reputation and your corporate identity and reputation. In terms of networking, it's connecting other people. And this is what I was saying earlier about social networking. Social networking is connecting and helping other people in the expectation of getting nothing in return. Give to get. Yes, build your own network. It's quite important to build your own network on LinkedIn. And in terms of knowledge, learning. So some people will be on LinkedIn just to learn stuff. There's some great articles on there. There's some thought leaders from around the world sharing really valuable business insight, but also sharing your own knowledge as well. So those are the three core themes that LinkedIn basically runs itself on. The 10 core elements are the bits, if you like. And for most financial advisors on LinkedIn, they're only using the top bit, the personal page. Some have got a company page as well. And there's also a thing called showcase pages, which is one of the hidden features on LinkedIn that nobody knows about. Groups, content, and by that I mean status updates and so on. Networking through contacts, jobs, and so on and so forth. The more bits of LinkedIn, the more elements of LinkedIn that you use, the more they reward you. And as I said, when LinkedIn rewards you, it makes you more visible in search results. It makes your content more visible to the right people as well. So there's quite a lot to LinkedIn. Most of us on LinkedIn, though, are only using the personal page, maybe the groups a little bit, and maybe the content bit as well. The more bits we can use, the more LinkedIn rewards us. So I hope you're finding this useful so far. I hope you're getting some good stuff. Hope you're hearing some stuff that you've not heard before. All of these things appear within search results. So remember, I can't stress this enough, how important it is to remember that LinkedIn is a search engine. Okay, so let's lift up the hood, let's lift up the bonnet and see what we can find underneath. I can't stress this enough. Have a plan. And even if that plan is a back of an envelope job, that will at least give you some focus on why you're on the platform at all, and sitting there in the hope that somebody might get in touch with you. When you've got a plan, then the magic happens. And your plan can be as simple as this: why you're on LinkedIn, what are you trying to achieve, and how you're measuring the results. I mean, that's about as simple as it gets. But everybody watching this should actually write this stuff down. Rather than having some vague idea in the back of your head, write this stuff down, pin it up on the office wall, yeah? So let me share my plan on LinkedIn. And it's as short as that. Essentially, it is to attract speaking and training business and to sell books. It's to be visible on LinkedIn where my clients and targets are. So for example, I've got lots of IFA clients, and I've also got lots of conference organizers on LinkedIn. There are several groups on LinkedIn for financial advisors, and there are several groups for conference organizers on LinkedIn. I mean, there are 3 groups on LinkedIn for conference organizers. Well, there are lots of groups, but 3 of them have got more than 100,000 members each. And, you know, if I dig around, if I go and visit one of these groups today, you know, conference organizers are tearing their hair out right now. There are no conferences. There's no training events to be organized. They're all wondering, you know, where the next bread is coming from that's going to put on their plate. So if I can go into those groups and I can be helpful, and by helpful, I don't mean sell my stuff or sell my services, but just to go in and to share the benefit of my experience, ideas that I've seen working elsewhere, things that people might find useful to consider, to comment on other people's posts, simple stuff that they are interact and engage with other human beings without selling. The more I give like that, the more likely it is that I will create curiosity, and they'll come and visit my profile. That's what I'm trying to do, just trying to be visible by engaging with them. I'm trying to create conversations, which at some point, the conversation has to go somewhere else. And then I'm trying to drive people off LinkedIn. And typically in normal times, I'm trying to attract these people here and get them off LinkedIn, maybe onto Skype, maybe onto my website, somewhere else. Meeting planners and conference organizers, financial advisors, suppliers to financial advisors. I also do work in schools as well, and I've also done quite a bit of work in Indian tourism. So those are typically the markets that I'm aiming at. But during the current situation, I'm not aiming at Indian tourism professionals. I'm not aiming at school careers leads. I'm aiming at only financial advisors and suppliers to financial advisors. And the sort of products that I ultimately hope that these people will buy are LinkedIn training, marketing training, how to put on seminars training, books, webinars, and so on and so forth. So suppliers to financial advisors, really what I'm trying to sell to them ultimately is, can I do training on their behalf to financial advisors, or indeed can I train their own staff as well? Or are they interested in advertising to my community of financial advisors? But this stuff's all written down. And if it wasn't written down, my use of LinkedIn would be haphazard and vague at best. You've got to get this focus. You've got to write a plan. Now, I mentioned earlier this concept of a value ladder. And a value ladder is really important and is increasingly becoming more and more important to financial advisors. You know, for most financial advisors, the top high-end service that they offer, and it may well be the only service they offer, is face-to-face financial planning. And in this internet age where somebody arrives on your website, and where there are plenty of other websites that all say exactly the same thing, to expect people to say, yeah, I'd like to hire you to do my financial planning, without them having got to know you, without them having got a sense of your expertise, without there any relationship or trust having been built, to make that jump is a big ask in today's internet age. So we need to be thinking about, what could we do that can give people a sense of our expertise, credibility, and professionalism before they say, right, I want to hire you for financial planning. And LinkedIn is a great way of doing that. Now, let me just give you an example of value ladders for other professionals. My dad was a dental surgeon, and his highest value service was cosmetic dentistry. And that's seriously expensive stuff. And in today's world, all dentists have got great websites, but to expect someone to arrive on the website, having found you on Google, and go, oh yeah, I like the look of this people, I will go for my cosmetic surgery with them. That's a big ask. So what a lot of dental practices these days is offer freebies to get people in through the door. So free teeth cleaning is simple and easier. Free teeth whitening. I mean, there was a time when teeth whitening was at the top of the value ladder, but these days they can give that away free as well. In fact, if you look at that, teeth cleaning and teeth whitening, you know, the dentist themselves doesn't even need to do that. Somebody else in the practice can do that. So what they're doing is they're getting you in through the door. They're giving you a great service, a high value service for free. They get testimonials off you. And it just makes it logical for them to want to go to the next step, okay? That's a value ladder for a dentist typically. For a chiropractor, they do something similar as well. Free consultation, maybe a free bit of massage. But what they really want to do is to get you to fork out a lot of money to come on that high-end wellness retreat that they're planning as well. But, you know, if their website only said, we do wellness retreats, you know, they're not going to get a lot of business. People have to get to know you, get to like you, particularly in any kind of professional services. People need to build trust. They need to build a relationship first. What do you suppose the value ladder might be for a gym owner? Well, it's pretty obvious, isn't it? The value ladder for a gym usually starts on January the 1st, but really they want to get you to the point where at some point you're going to be forking out a lot of money for personal training, this kind of stuff as well. But what they usually do is they give you a couple of weeks free. They just want to get you in the building so you can experience the great facilities that they've got there. And that's going to make it much more likely that you're going to want to get out your credit card and pay for more. Now, I'm happy to share here, this is my value ladder for financial advisors. The highest end service that I offer is a weekend marketing retreat. Starts on a Friday afternoon, finishes on a Sunday evening. Sometimes we go overseas. It's usually in a nice hotel, very nice hotel somewhere in the UK. We have some very nice food. We get some expert speakers to come in. This is expensive. And if all I ever did was my website said, financial advisors, why don't you come along to my weekend marketing retreat? it's pretty unlikely that anyone's ever going to get their credit card out without getting to know me first. So what I do is I start down the bottom by offering free stuff, but high value free stuff. So those of you that are in my Facebook group, the Life Talk Facebook group, that's free, but there is so much value in there. And I don't put much of the value in myself. You put the value in, but and there's very little that a financial advisor, the very few questions that a financial advisor could ever ask about how to be a successful financial advisor that can't be answered by the other members in that group. So then I might offer a free ebook, or maybe I might suggest you a cheap and inexpensive product for you, maybe a book on Amazon. We might do a webinar. Now, today's webinar is free, but what I'm trying to do is to guide you into my world so that slowly but surely you will want to progress up that value ladder. And there'll be some people who will be on today's call who will, at some point, it won't be this year, it might not be next year, it might be the year after that, who'll go, Phil, I like the stuff you offer, tell me more about this weekend retreat that you offer. So this is kind of how a value ladder works. And when I'm looking at financial advisors, I'm sending financial advisors, I'm also sending suppliers to financial advisors to my world, and that could be one of several websites that I've got. And for financial advisors, you join the community, then you go for the ebooks, then you might come along to a live workshop, then we might have coachings, and so on and so forth. To suppliers of financial advisors, I'm offering something slightly different. And it's an interesting thing here that most financial advisors, typically financial planning has been something that's been done between consenting adults in your office or in the client's home, and that's kind of it. Yet there is so much value that financial advisors have. There is so much expertise. Whether you're getting started or whether you've been around a while, you have a lot of expertise, and that expertise can be used in a way to gently guide people into your world so that it becomes the next logical thing to go up the ladder so that they want to work with you. And if not, they work with you, that they will refer you to other people as well. So it's worth it just at some point, even if you do this just for a bit of fun, sketch out what your value ladder could look like. Now, I mentioned earlier the importance of having a plan. One thing I discovered, and financial advisors are so well positioned to do this, is as well as having your own plan, why not sell a plan? So I've got two guides that I've written that are almost blank books, but they are basically, so the one on the right there, Social Media Strategy Planner for Financial Advisors. The first 10 pages get you to think about your business, and it asks you questions. You literally write your answer in the book. So I've actually created a plan there, which I am selling to financial advisors on Amazon on my website. And again, financial advisors could do this as well. You could create some sort of plan that you could sell to other people. And I genuinely think this is a massive trick that our profession is missing. This idea of taking the expertise that you have got and repackaging it into other formats that people could buy, or indeed that you could give away. And that so that people will be more and more attracted into your world so that they want to go higher up your value ladder or indeed refer you to other people. Okay, so let's have a look now at LinkedIn profile pages, because this is the heart of it for most people. So let me pose a question to you. What do you suppose the single biggest mistake is that financial advisors are making on LinkedIn? Do you want to have a think about that just for a moment? What do you think the single biggest mistake is that financial advisors are making on LinkedIn? Let me just grab some water while you're thinking about that. Okay. The answer is not fully completing their profile, with the emphasis on the word fully. When you fully complete your profile, LinkedIn rewards you by making you more visible in the search results. Just fully completing your profile will make an immediate and measurable difference in your LinkedIn profile. Now, there's quite a bit to a LinkedIn profile, so this might take you a little bit of a while, but it's so worth doing. Because think about the logic of this. LinkedIn is a networking platform, and if people are searching for experts, LinkedIn does not want to put profiles in the search results that don't contain much information. LinkedIn wants its users to get value out of the platform. So they want people with fully completed profiles to appear in the search results. So please, please do that. And they chuck out some numbers now and again. Users with complete profiles are 40 times more likely to receive opportunities through LinkedIn. I mean, whether that's right or not, I don't know. But what I do know is that you will appear higher in the search results. And as a result, you will get more people visiting your profile. Other mistakes people making, not putting their contact information. Why you wouldn't want to put your contact information on your profile, I have no idea. Not engaging with other people and their content. Remember what I said about social networking rather than social broadcasting, and forgetting this concept that people buy people. Okay, I say fully complete your profile. These are all the sections that you need to be thinking about. So that's quite a lot. Obviously your name, your photo, all this stuff. I'm not going to go through all these, and some of those sections on your LinkedIn profile are kind of hidden. But once you start filling out your profile, occasionally LinkedIn flashes up a little message saying you haven't finished this section, or you need to finish this section. These are all the sections that you need to be filling in on your LinkedIn profile. Again, you will get copies of the slides, so don't worry if you can't scribble all those down. So here are just some things, just a bit of a recap. To appear high in the LinkedIn research results, you need to fully complete your profile. You also need to build a large network. LinkedIn rewards you for being connected to a lot of people. So I connect with anybody who wants to connect with me, I accept it. And I do that with the exception of obvious spammers. You know, you spot them a mile off. Now, let me just put this into context. In the real world, I would suggest that having a large network is nice. But in actual fact, you really want, in the real world, you want to have a focused network. So if you're a financial advisor that specializes in heart surgeons in West London, then you only really want to be, your network really wants to comprise of the medical profession at that kind of level, yeah? But LinkedIn is a software platform, okay? At the end of the day, it's a piece of software. And so whilst I think that having a small and focused network is correct in the real world, in the online world, particularly LinkedIn, you want to have a large network because LinkedIn rewards you. LinkedIn has this sort of quaint idea that being well connected, we've all heard that expression before, being well connected, LinkedIn's version of that means that you have a large network rather than the quality of the network. You want to include hashtags in posts. We'll explore more of that as we go. You need to engage with other people's contents. That's a really, really important. What am I talking about there? I'm talking about social networking. Comment on other people's content, and LinkedIn's algorithm will spot that and it will reward you by making your posts more visible and making you more visible, and deciding on your keywords, and I'll explain that in just a second. I mentioned about Google results earlier. Fully completed profiles appear high in Google search results. So if I type my name into Google, my own website comes up top. The governor of Maryland from 1620 comes up second, and my LinkedIn profile comes in third. Okay, so what are we going to do on our profile page? Now, there's a clue in this particular picture here. We really don't want people falling asleep, and it happens all too often on LinkedIn because we all say the same thing on our profiles. Now, you've got to ask yourself these questions. Does your profile capture attention immediately? Does it empathize with your visitors' problems? Do you remember earlier I said to you, do you know what they are thinking about right now? Do you know what their worries are right now? Do you know what they care about right now? So does your profile reflect that? Does it communicate in a tone that's unique to you? Are you using too much jargon? You need a little bit of jargon, but not too much. And is there a desirable, clear call to action? Now, those of you with a sales background will be looking at that thinking, that's the perfect sales model. Get attention, empathize, communicate, and, you know, call to action. So, so important. And fundamentally remember this concept that people buy people. The more human your profile can come across, the more people are going to want to talk to you. It's as simple as that. So I've created a profile test to come up with, there are certain aspects of a profile that make and the test is, it's basically, your profile's got to be irresistible. Now, you might have seen earlier that I also do some work with careers leads. My wife is a careers lead for a school, and she quite often hires speakers to come in and talk. She also hires financial advisors from time to time. And I sent her an email once saying, I'm doing this presentation. Can you use LinkedIn a lot? Could you give me some examples of what irresistible might mean to you when it comes to a LinkedIn profile? And she replies to my email about half an hour later. No words, no text in the email, just a photo that was attached to her email, and that's what she attached to it. Okay, fine. Half an hour later, she sends me another email with this photo attached. Half an hour after that, she sends me another email with this photo attached to it. Then I finally get a message from her half an hour after that saying, I like this game, here's one more. And she sent me that. So I get what irresistible might mean at one level. So let me now show you a real LinkedIn profile, and we're going to try and assess whether or not it meets the irresistible test. Okay, so I'm going to show you now a real LinkedIn profile, and just tell me what you think. Okay, here he is. Just soak him up in all his glory. It's a real LinkedIn profile. And I'd like you to think at a gut human level, what do you think about this guy? I mean, you don't even know his name. You don't know what he does for a living. It could have been taken in a police station for all we know, but at a gut human level, how do you feel about this guy? And for most people, they think, okay, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt, he looks okay. He looks a jolly chap, yeah? Now, this guy, and that tells you straight away the power and the value of a profile photo. I mean, this isn't a particularly professionally taken photo, but our first instinct with this guy is he looks likable. He looks a nice guy, yet we know nothing about him. So this guy's name is Art, and Art runs an office supplies outlet out in Milwaukee. And I'm going to show you some of the stuff that Art has put on his LinkedIn profile. And what's important is Art understands only too well that one firm of office supplies outlets looks exactly the same as every other office supplies outlet. They all sell the same stuff. They've all got online services selling the same stuff. They all promise great pricing. In fact, you know, in office supplies, it's a race to the bottom as to who can be the cheapest. And Art wants to run a profitable business. So let's have a look at some of the stuff that Art has put on his profile. These are real excerpts from Art's LinkedIn profile. Thanks for your message, Mike. Glad you're here. So, okay, so there's a bit of humor going on. Let's see what else he's put on his LinkedIn profile. So when you look at this, one of two things is happening. Yeah, one of two things. He's either taking the mickey, and there's lots of people who do that on LinkedIn, and that's absolutely fine. Perhaps he's having a laugh. That's great. Or he's the real deal. Trust me, Art is the real deal. The testimonials for Art and Art's business are just off the scale. I mentioned he's got an online service, but guess what? Nobody actually uses it. People would rather get in their pickup truck and drive for 4 hours to his outlet in the hope that he'll actually be there. When I first discovered Art, I looked at his profile, and a day later, I get a message from him on LinkedIn. And he said, "Dear Mr. Social Media Guy, thanks for taking a look at my profile today. I imagine that you're putting a presentation together on how not to use LinkedIn. Please feel free to use anything from my profile. And if you're ever in the area, pop round and we'll have one of my famous lunches." Now that is how you engage with people at a human level. So he is using a bit of humor as his differentiator. He knows that people buy people. He's a funny guy. But as a result of him showing his human side, his business is doing incredibly well. Now, I'm not suggesting that all of a sudden every financial advisor has to start getting all wacky like this. But what I am saying is there will be aspects about you, your story, and your life that other human beings would actually like to hear about. And whilst we all think that LinkedIn's a serious businessy place, in actual fact, it's all about people at the end of the day. A lot of people look at social media and look at LinkedIn and think, oh, I just need to have a profile on these sites and the technology will do the work. No, it won't. You do the work as a human being. Interact and engage with people at a human level. We'll come back to art. Okay, what's on your profile page? Well, you know, you all registered for this webinar today, so I was able to have a quick look at your profiles and to see the words that you are using on your profile. And this is what I see. Yeah. In actual fact, I didn't look at your profiles. Every year, LinkedIn produces a list of the most overused buzzwords on profiles. And this is the latest list. The list is much the same. And I'm sure all of us are guilty of this. I'm sure we can all tick off a few of those words. And I'm sure we've got some of those words on our profile. But tell me, where do these words really belong? Probably on a CV, yeah? And even that, maybe they shouldn't belong on a CV either. As financial advisors, our websites all say the same thing. They've all got similar themes. And this extends to our LinkedIn activities as well. We're all using the same words on our LinkedIn profile. How on earth do we manage to differentiate ourselves and stand out from the crowd? How on earth do we get across the perception of our expertise, what we care about, what problems do we solve? We need to make it much, much more human. When you make your LinkedIn profile more human, the magic happens. So just a few quick things. Write it in the first person. Please don't write your LinkedIn profile in the third person. John has been a financial advisor in Reading for the last 20 years. He's a chartered financial planner. John, we all know you wrote it. Please, it just looks weird when you write it in the third person, yeah? Write it in the first person. You can be punchy, tell stories, get your punctuation right. There's nothing worse than punctuation that's incorrect on a LinkedIn profile. And if you care about something, maybe it's music, put that in your profile. You only need one other person who loves music, who's looking at your profile, and you've got them. You've got something in common. This is one of the clever things, and I'll give you an example of this later on. Having something in common with people is incredibly powerful as a networking tool. Write your profile with your customers' needs, problems first in mind. Yes, you can be assertive and direct. You can say things like, visit my website now, or give me a call now. Get some of your personality, include pictures on your profile, and make points through visuals. And again, I'll give you some examples of that. And you know, if you really want to go to town on this, perhaps you're a chiropractor, yeah? You could get away perfectly well on LinkedIn by saying something on your profile. Do you suffer from chronic elbow pain? Knowing full well that a huge number of people looking at your profile actually do suffer from chronic elbow pain. Then show that you have the answer. So think about this. Think about that perfect dream client. So in the case of a chiropractor, a perfect dream client may well be someone who suffers from chronic elbow pain. Write your profile and aim it at them. So it's not a CV. It's so important that your LinkedIn profile is not a CV, okay? It's your online reputation. It's you. In the absence of you in the world, what else have people got? They've got your business card, but they've also got your LinkedIn profile, okay? So show it the value that you bring. Equally, your LinkedIn profile is not a circus poster. I mean, some people might argue that Art's profile on LinkedIn is in circus poster territory, yeah? So try and strike a balance between being human and also being professional as well. Now, here's a little thing. We're not going to do this right now, but please do this afterwards. If you do this one thing, this will also make an immediate and measurable improvement to your LinkedIn profile. And what you need to do is you need to write down 7 to 12 keywords that if someone typed them into the LinkedIn search box, they would lead to you. So inheritance tax planning is one keyword, yeah? Pension planning for company owners is one keyword. Protection for heart surgeons is one keyword. Yes, get what I'm saying here? So think about what are the words that you would like to be found for and come up with a list of 12 if you can do that, yeah? If you only focus, if your niche market is heart surgeons in West London, then there's a good chance that you won't be able to get anywhere near 12 keywords, and that's absolutely fine. So the more niche you are, the fewer words you better come up with. But you'll know instinctively what those words are. But for everybody else, think about a dozen keywords, write them down. Then the next thing you need to do is to number them in order of importance. So the single most important keyword is number 1 on your list above anything else. Then you want to take the top 5 keywords on your list and you want to have them tattooed on your heart. Or second best, write them on a piece of paper, pin them up on the wall. These are the words that you really got to get into your LinkedIn profile and also into other social media stuff that you use. So we've come up with a list of 12, we've numbered them in order of importance, and we now have the top 5. And what we now need to do is take the top 5 keywords and we need to edit them into every single section of our LinkedIn profile, or as many as we possibly can. There are some other keywords that you might want to think about as well. Specific services that you offer, technical skills that you might have, any specific industries that you might serve, a couple of buzzwords, because some people might be on LinkedIn and saying SIP expert or something like that, yeah? Think about the sort of words that your target market might be using and might be typing into the search box. And any other business skills that you might have. And also if you serve a particular area, Manchester, Edinburgh, Glasgow, Cardiff, wherever you happen to be, try and get that in there as well into your keywords. So that's not a job to rush off. It's worth spending some time on that. And if you have colleagues who work with other people, ask them to do the keyword exercise as well and then compare notes. It may well be that you've forgotten some keywords, and it may well be that you can help your colleagues as well. So do that as a team together. You also need to choose hashtags. Now, hashtags are a big deal on LinkedIn. For those of you that aren't quite sure what hashtags are, whether we're talking about Twitter, Facebook, a hashtag is a word that you put a hashtag before. So maybe you've got up this morning at 5:30 and you've gone for your morning run, and you come back, you're feeling great, and you feel the need to tell the world about it. You might go onto Twitter and you might put morning exercise done, feeling great. And then you might put hashtag fitness. And you might add hashtag smug or something like that. By putting a hashtag, 2 things happen. One thing is you're adding emphasis to what you have just written. And the other thing is, by putting that hashtag, it makes it more likely that your tweet or your post will appear in search results. So there will be people on Twitter right now who are really, really into fitness. And they will be typing hashtag fitness into the search box on Twitter. And if you've put a little tweet out this morning and you've included hashtag fitness, it makes it much more likely that your tweet will appear in their search results. And the same goes for LinkedIn as well. And I'm going to show you later how you can use hashtags to find perfect ideal clients. So as well as doing your keywords, come up with 3 hashtags that are relevant to you and your expertise and your business. So hashtag customer service, it's all one word. Hashtag pension planning is all one word. Yeah. Hashtag equity release is all one word. Whatever your thing, come up with 3. Onwards. Now, everybody on LinkedIn gets their own URL, their own address. And one thing you can think about doing, it's not compulsory to do this, but it does help in search results, is to edit your URL and add in some keywords. Now, I've even removed my name. Most people, when they join LinkedIn, their URL is something like linkedin.com/in/John Smith 497X3Y and so on. And that's not very sexy. It doesn't look very good on your business card. And I'm assuming all of you listening to this today have actually got your LinkedIn URL on your business cards, have you? I bet you haven't. So one of the things you need to think about is getting a couple of keywords into your URL, and then please get your LinkedIn URL onto your business cards. And if you're part of a large firm, go to your marketing department, go to your compliance people and say, why haven't we got our LinkedIn profiles? Because some people, when they meet you for the first time, they won't want to visit your website. If they can see you're on LinkedIn, they would perhaps rather look at you on LinkedIn instead. So get your keywords. Now the settings, the privacy settings on LinkedIn are quite extensive. They move things around, so you just need to dig around in the settings and you'll find the one that enables you to edit your URL. Now, misspellings of your name. Here's an interesting thing. Maybe I met Katie at a networking event last night. She'd run out of business cards. We'd agreed that we're going to talk tomorrow, and the room was loud, the bar was loud, I couldn't quite hear her name properly, but what Katie has done is she's put common misspellings of her name into the summary section of her LinkedIn profile to help me find her. So for those of you that have got a name that is anything other than Smith or Jones or whatever, if your name has the potential to be spelt incorrectly, put some common misspellings on your LinkedIn profile, and that will help people to find you. Bill here, he's done exactly the same thing as well. Keywords in your headline. Here's an old screenshot of my LinkedIn profile. The professional headline is the bit immediately under your name. What do you notice? What immediately jumps out at you when you look at my professional headline there? Anything that you've spotted? Well, firstly, it's a question. Who's that question aimed at? One of my dream clients. So this is from a few months back when conferences and events were still going strong. So I wrote my headline for conference organizers. I'm aiming it at them. What else do you notice about it? It's capitalized. Capitalizing, or putting the first letter of each word in capitals, is a copywriting technique that makes it look important. It isn't actually important, but it makes it look more important than it actually is. So a little technique to think about. So don't just put financial advisor in your LinkedIn profile, put financial advisor specializing in heart surgeons in West London. Or, are you a heart surgeon in West London looking to improve your income in retirement? Something like that, yeah? Think about your dream client, write your headline for them. Jeremy is a financial advisor, and what you can see, he's put keywords in his name. Jeremy's a financial life planner down in Cornwall. So he's actually added, now this is, I wouldn't always recommend this. LinkedIn didn't used to allow you to do this, but they do allow you to do it, as long as you don't abuse it, okay? Like this one here. So think about that, but what's Jeremy doing? Jeremy is a life planner, so he's getting keywords into his name as well. Now, then you move down your LinkedIn profile and you've got the experience section. So for most of you, you'll have financial advisor, you might have some text underneath it, and then you might have some previous jobs that you've done in the past as well. Couple of things here. First of all, make sure that you actually put some text in there. And by text, I mean the bit that says want to learn proven ways and and so on and so forth. A lot of financial advisors never bother to fill that bit out. They just write in job and where they work. Now, what most people think the experience section is for putting down where you are working now. And underneath it shows where you used to work. In actual fact, you can use that section for anything you like. You can actually show what you are doing now, not necessarily where you're working now, but what you're doing now. So maybe you're a financial planner that you're running some seminars across the West Midlands on retirement planning, yeah? And so as well as having an experience block that says financial advisor, Jones and Co., you could also have another experience section that shows financial planner running retirement planning seminars across the West Midlands. And what you're doing is helping people get a sense of what you actually do as a financial advisor. And it sort of broadens the appeal a bit, but it gives you another opportunity to get keywords throughout your experience section. Now, I do this quite a lot. I even put in the experience section, even things that I've just done for 1 hour. So in October 2017, I was a speaker at a big IFA conference in South Africa. So for 1 hour, I was speaking there, but I put that in my experience section. For 2 hours, I was a speaker at a conference on social media in tourism in India. For 1 hour, I did some training for Volvo. For 1 hour, I did some training for Maserati. For 1 hour, I did some training for Santander. Now, I'm not going to put every client, but what I am going to do is I'm going to put some juicy clients. But what it's doing here is giving me the opportunity to get, guess what, keywords throughout my profile. But it is giving conference organizers, the people who book me to speak, a sense of the sort of markets that I work in. Okay, contact details. Again, hope you're finding some use for this. You obviously, in the contact details, you can put up to 3 websites. Now, I know most financial advisors have got only 1 website, but maybe you've got a blog, or maybe you've got some stuff going on YouTube. I don't know, you might have something. Now, what most people do is they just put the website address, www.philipcalvert.com. But what I'm trying to point you to here is the wording after the website address. What do you notice about that wording? Yes, keywords. Book me to speak, that's a keyword. Event, that's a keyword. Marketing, that's a keyword. IFAs, that's a keyword. Lead generation for IFAs, that's a keyword. Now, if this is one of the hidden features on LinkedIn, and again, when you go into the settings, when you add in your website, it gives you a choice of what type of website is it. And I think it gives you the choices of blog, company website, something else, and other. And when you choose other, it lets you add in that free text, book me to speak at your event. So as well as just having your website address there, also add in some free text, and you do that in the settings by choosing the word other. You also want to show your birthday, make your birthday visible on LinkedIn. Now, this is, you might be thinking, well, why would you want to do it? Do you just want people to, do you get off on people wishing you happy birthday? Well, let's just have a think. What have I been talking about on this? This is a human thing. This is about networking. So it doesn't show your year of birth, thank goodness for that, but it does show your date of birth. Now, the last November, 13th of November, 452 people sent me birthday greetings through the LinkedIn platform. 50% of them never bothered to customize it. They just hit the standard happy birthday Phil button, but a lot of them customized it. Now, why is this a big deal? Because it gives me an opportunity to start conversations with people. So if Jane or Sue or Mike or Pete sends me happy birthday on LinkedIn, I'm going to reply. Hi, Pete, thanks for your birthday wishes. I really appreciate it. How are things with you at the moment? It's giving me an opportunity to start the relationship plate spinning. People I've forgotten about. I've had situations where people have asked me to submit a proposal to do some marketing training or even to speak at a conference, and I'd forgotten to do it. Yet somebody sent me a message and I suddenly reminded, oh, I forgot to send you that. It's pretty awful. But I've had situations where somebody sent me a message and I said, I've got back to them and said, oh, thanks for your kind wishes. I've just realized I've forgotten to send you that proposal you asked for a few weeks ago. Is the opportunity still there? And they go, yes, it is, Phil. We'd love to have you. So show your birthday. And then when people wish you happy birthday, reply to them all. Now, I sent 452 people sent me happy birthday. I replied to 452 people. A copy and paste, admittedly, but I customized every single one of them with their name, and then I customized it even further if there was a reason to do so. It starts conversations. It makes people visit your profile. I think also we want to get to the point now that we are proud of our LinkedIn profile and that we are prepared to promote it. I've already said we should have our LinkedIn URL on our business cards. But LinkedIn also gives you a little badge, so you can put a link to your LinkedIn profile from your website. When you get the slides, just visit this address here, and they literally give you the code for adding the badge to your website or indeed to your email signature. I'm hoping that some of you have got a link to your LinkedIn profile in your email signature. Hope you have. They give you the code. I mean, if you don't know how to do it, your kids will do it for you. But what I'm saying is show off your LinkedIn profile. It's now fully completed. Be proud of it. Refer people to it, because guess what? Some people don't want to visit your website, but they would like to visit your LinkedIn profile. Be proud of it. You also want to make sure, again, deep in the settings, that as many people as possible can see when you're on LinkedIn and also see your activity on LinkedIn. A lot of people are shocked to discover that it has defaulted to no one. So you're on LinkedIn, you've done your profile, but you've defaulted to no one, and no one knows you when you're on LinkedIn. No one knows when you posted it. So dig out the settings and there are lots and lots of settings. This is just one of them. Be as visible as you feel comfortable with. Yeah, I'm all for privacy. Be as visible as you feel comfortable. But the more visible you are, the more likely it is that people are going to visit your profile. And the more focused your profile is, the more likely that the right people will visit your profile. And I know lots of financial advisors get lots of recruiters looking at their profile. Nothing the delete button can't deal with. Here's something else about LinkedIn which not a lot of people realize. So maybe I'm looking for a financial planner. for sake of argument, I'm looking for a financial planner. So I go on LinkedIn and I do my search, and hundreds of financial planners come up. The people who have been on this webinar today will come up at the top of the list. And maybe from everybody that comes up in the search results, I'm going to take a closer look at Tom. So this is a real screenshot of Tom's LinkedIn profile, but you can see there's a gap on the right-hand side. I've actually blanked off part of Tom's profile. Can anybody remember what's on the right-hand side of profiles? Let's give you a bit of a clue, shall we? Yep, a list of people who were also viewed in a similar search that was done on LinkedIn. Now, if I'm looking for a financial planner and I've decided to look at Tom's profile, on the right-hand side, I can see a list of other financial planners. Now, let me ask you the question. Who are these people to Tom other than Tina? Yep, they are all potentially competitors. And I have to ask you, do you think Tom wants a list of his competitors visible on his own profile? Of course he doesn't. And it may well be, handsome as Tom is, I'm going to look down the right-hand side and I'm going to see Tina, I'm going to see Liam. Liam seems to have letters after his name. And there's Adam at the bottom. He's got letters after his name. Now, Tom seems to be a financial planner. Adam seems to be a chartered financial planner. That sounds quite fancy. Maybe Adam is a better financial planner than Tom. You guys watching this know it doesn't necessarily work like that. But if I'm a member of the public and I'm looking for a financial planner, and I can see a list of his competitors, and one of them's got letters after his name, and one of them says chartered or certified, that may get my attention. And I'm going to go look at Adam, and I'm not going to spend any more time with Tom. You see what I'm saying here? So the good news is there is a setting within the settings that you can turn that feature off. Dig around in there and turn it to no so that people can't see a list of your competitors on your own profile. Hope you found that one useful. Photos, really important. We've got a great photo. And if someone's got a great photo, tell them it's a great photo. Yeah, really important. And let's be clear about this. You must have a photo. There's been all sorts of research done. If you don't have a photo, nobody's interested. Okay, so you must have a photo. However, there are photos and there are photos. Broadly speaking, it needs to be friendly and professional. Yeah. What do we think about Emma's photo here? Yeah, I mean, I know Emma, lovely lady. Arguably not the best photo. I need to see the whites of her eyes. Yeah, I need to see. And people always think, and is she wearing any clothes in the office as well? I don't know. Nice person, not a great photo. Adam on the other side, friendly and professional, a bit more relaxed, shows more of the office environment. And here's an interesting thing that human beings do when we see profile photos, and I know that profile photos are circular right now on LinkedIn. LinkedIn changes the shape periodically. Human beings, if we like the look of someone's photo, we tend to click on it. And on LinkedIn, the photo gets bigger, so we can take a closer look. So if you've not updated your LinkedIn profile photo for a while, I would suggest you go back and upload. You can now upload a fairly sizable photo file so that you get a nice big version of it when somebody clicks on it. But as I said, there are photos, and people choose to represent themselves in quite strange ways on LinkedIn. This is a financial advisor. Yep, it's a financial advisor. And this is her profile photo on LinkedIn. I had a look down her profile. Maybe she collects lizards or reptiles. No, nothing on there. So she likes the photo, but anybody else, why is the question we've got to be asking, yeah? This is a financial advisor. Now, some of you be thinking, oh, blimey, there's no way I'd want this person looking after my personal finances. But we might be wrong. There may be people out there on LinkedIn who are looking for financial advisors who assume that all financial advisors wear suit and ties and look like bank managers, yeah? And they are crying out for people who look a bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? Normal's not the word I'm looking for, but you know what I mean. I would suggest that this photo is probably going a bit too far, but you get what I'm saying. People buy people. They always do and always will. Think about your photo, make it friendly and professional, and above all, relevant to your prime target market. I mean, some of you may know Frank, and this is how he chooses to represent himself, or did choose to represent himself on LinkedIn. Funny guy, but not necessarily right for LinkedIn. Some of you may know Vince. I suspect this is not, I know this is not Vince at Prudential, yeah. This is not a financial advisor, but it's a real LinkedIn profile photo, yeah. I found this guy on LinkedIn as well. Now, you know, on LinkedIn, you can join groups. I like collecting funny LinkedIn profiles, but I had a closer look at this particular one, and sure enough, it turns out this guy has joined a group on LinkedIn. Yeah, the Wooden Toys group. Now, that might sound amusing on the surface, but it's a really important point. There's a group for everyone on LinkedIn. Whatever your interests outside work, there's a group for you on LinkedIn. If you're into football, there are multiple groups of people who are interested in football, down to specific team level as well. Human beings are attracted to other human beings where you have something in common. Darren, love this particular LinkedIn profile. It's a bit of fun. It's not ideal for your LinkedIn profile, though. The guy on the left is a mortgage advisor. You know, interesting picture. Not quite sure it's quite right. The picture on the right is an investment advisor in East London. That's his LinkedIn profile photo that he uses, yeah? Amusing picture, not ideal for LinkedIn. I think you get what I'm saying, yeah? So if you do have a distinctive photo, it's really important that you have some relevance within the profile body itself. So this guy here, this is his LinkedIn profile photo. He is the boss of a Lexus dealership in central London. His passion in life is the outdoor world. He loves hiking, climbing, just loves walking, mountaineering, and so on and so forth. So he can get away with putting a photo like this, but it says in his profile, the outdoor world is everything to me. Do you remember I showed you an early slide where it says, music is my first love? To this guy, the outside world is his first love. And he only needs one person who also loves hiking and walking and climbing, who is looking at his profile, who is interested in buying a Lexus or a fleet of Lexuses, and he's got them, okay? Because they've got something in common. So think about what are your interests outside work and get them into your LinkedIn profile. And if you are going to have a photo, make it something that matches, but make it as professional as you can possibly do. Learn from the people who know what they're talking about, okay? So Jeff, the boss at LinkedIn, friendly and professional. Dara, the CEO of Uber, friendly and professional. Melanie, head of strategy at Google, friendly and professional. This guy I found here, it's friendly and it looks professional enough, yeah. Now, there's a natural tendency with LinkedIn profile photos to, yes, friendly and professional, but what most of us tend to try and do is try and make yourself look confident or indeed competent. But an interesting thing, the psychologists tell us that that's not actually what people are looking for when they look at profile photos online. When we're looking at profile photos online, particularly people we've never met before, we are looking as human beings, we're looking for something else. I wonder if anybody can guess what it is that we are actually looking for when we look, and we're doing this at a subconscious level. We're actually looking for trustworthiness. Does the person I'm looking at look trustworthy? Now, there are things that you can do in LinkedIn photos that do actually make you look more trustworthy. So for example, if it's a head and shoulders shot or a waist up shot, have the palms of your hands visible. That makes you look more trustworthy. It's believed the only reason why we shake hands when we meet people is to prove that we are not concealing a weapon. It goes back, thousands and thousands of years. So trustworthiness is extremely important to people. And, I can't think of a profession where we need to exude trustworthiness much more than financial planning. So when you're choosing a LinkedIn profile photo, perhaps ask some colleagues, see if they can make a judgment on the degree to which you look trustworthy or not, as the case may be. You want to add some media to your photos, to your LinkedIn profile, and you can add media, and by media, you can add all sorts of images, PowerPoint presentations, PDFs, videos, you name it, you can add them to your LinkedIn profile. Now, LinkedIn gives you some stats as to how many profile views you get. And when this feature was first introduced, where you could add pictures to your LinkedIn profile, I added these photos here. And the day after I added those images, that happened to my profile views. So while some people want to read your flowing prose on your LinkedIn profile, some people would rather look at pictures, some people would rather watch videos. So there's all sorts of things you can do, but what's really, really popular is infographics on LinkedIn profile photos. So for example, here's a financial advisor from the United States who could have written a blog about how to improve your credit score, but instead he created an infographic instead, which is a lot prettier to look at, to be quite honest. Now, you don't need to be a professional graphic designer to do this. There's plenty of free tools on the internet. Just Google free infographic tools and you just drag and drop the ready-made templates. I use a website called Canva, C-A-N-V-A. So some of the things that you want to say about yourself as a person, as an expertise, as a financial planner, try to express them visually rather than only in writing. And there's a new section on LinkedIn profiles. They're gradually rolling this out this very week, in fact, where they've got featured imagery. So there's literally just underneath your professional headline, there's a box that says featured, and you can choose which of the images that you've got on your LinkedIn profile do you want to feature, so they are very, very prominent. Another thing you can do on LinkedIn is the big image at the top, the header image. Now, I'm going to come on to free and premium LinkedIn membership, but everything I have shown you so far today, you can do for free on LinkedIn, including the big header image. So if I profess to be a speaker, I'm going to have for my header image a dirty, great big picture of me speaking in front of a lot of financial advisors. So think about using that space, that bit of real estate at the top, as another way to highlight your expertise. And again, you can add some text to it. You can't add the text within LinkedIn itself. So again, go to a tool like Canva, take the picture, upload the picture again, and then just add some extra text that you want to do. Some of you will know Pete Matthew, financial advisor down in Cornwall. Pete is known for his YouTube videos, his podcasting. So the header picture that he's using at the top shows him a still from one of his videos. It shows him doing some of his recording as well. So think about your prime perfect target market and use that header image to show that that's a market that you help with. The mobile app used to be a bit rubbish, but it's now pretty good. So upload status updates, upload photos. So when I was speaking in India, an elephant comes along outside the conference. So you've got to have a selfie with an elephant. And I upload that to my status on LinkedIn, but I also add a little caption to it as well. And I make sure that there are some keywords in there. So I think on this one, I said something like, I'm here speaking in India on social media, meet my new friend. The picture on the right there, I think that was a financial advice conference, one of the big financial advice firms, the Rainbow Theatre in London. So before everybody came in, I took a quick picture of the auditorium. And again, I uploaded it to LinkedIn and I added a caption, said I'm speaking, that's a keyword, here to financial advisors, that's a keyword, in this fantastic venue. So think about using the mobile app to upload photos of your day-to-day life, and in one sentence in the caption, tell a little story. Tell little stories. Incredibly powerful. And yes, include one of your 3 hashtags in that post as well. Okay, the summary section on your LinkedIn profile. Tell stories about yourself, about what you do, how you help people. A great technique to do is to use bullet points. So this is a previous version of my LinkedIn profile. You can see that I've used bullet points in my summary section there. Here's another example. This guy here, he's really gone to town on the bullet points thing. It's super clear. He's trying to get his point across. Super simple approach. But I want to show you, some of you will know Tina, Tina Weeks, Serenity Financial Planning. Tina's not opted for the bullet points thing, but Tina knows how to use LinkedIn. So she's written prose out here, but I want to show you what she's actually done. So what I'm now going to do is turn my forensic torch onto Tina's summary section. And what do we see? Yes, keywords. I mean, look at that first paragraph alone. Financial planning, IFA, financial advisor, financial planning. multiple keywords in the first paragraph alone. Now, really, really important, whether you're using bullet points or whether you're doing paragraphs, it's important that you get some of your top 5 keywords that I mentioned earlier, get some of your top 5 keywords into the first paragraph or the first couple of bullet points of your summary section. Because when Google comes along and looks at your LinkedIn profile, it doesn't actually read all of your profile. It looks at your name, it looks at your headline, and it looks at the first paragraph of your summary section. So get your most important keywords high up in the summary section. Now, here's a new thing. Well, it's not all that new on LinkedIn, but it's one of these sort of hidden things that nobody knows that's there. Now, I think all of us, to a greater or lesser degree now, will purchase products and services based on our perception of a company's ethical and environmental credentials. And there is a space on your LinkedIn profile to highlight things that you care about, the causes that you support. And again, this can make the difference between attracting the right clients or not attracting people. And you only need one other person who cares about the environment, who looks at your profile, and they're looking for an environmentally friendly financial advisor. You know, that makes it much more likely they're going to want to actually talk to you. LinkedIn highlights a variety of different causes that you can care about. They do this automatically. So find this section on your profile, fill it out, make sure you get some keywords in there as well. And again, this will help you to become more visible on LinkedIn. I want to use Martin Bamford. Some of you know Martin, Informed Choice Financial Planning, Bamford Media, also does marketing for financial advisors. So in Martin's volunteer experience section, he's, Martin is the single best financial advisor in the UK, if not the world, for using social media and digital technology. But Martin really knows that the business he really wants is local business. So he's using the volunteer and the causes section to highlight the stuff he does local. Event director, Cranley Park Room. Chairman of Cranley and Bloom. Committee member, Cranley Chamber of Commerce. So it's not all hardcore financial planning stuff. It shows that he's local. It shows that he cares. You know, he only needs one other person in Cranley who does the Cranley Park Run, and there's a couple hundred people do it every Saturday morning, who see that and go, oh, I do park run as well. And it makes it more likely, it nudges them to that point where they think, I think Martin's the financial advisor that I want to be talking to. In fact, LinkedIn have got a whole separate website. Again, when you get the slides, when you watch the video, pause it at this point and go check out that LinkedIn for Good. And you can find, and there's a fantastic whole separate website where you can offer yourself up as a mentor or find a mentor or volunteer. It's a fantastic set. So it's one of the hidden features about LinkedIn that people don't know about. Now then we've got the skills section, which is a kind of quick, cheap and easy, quick and dirty way to highlight the things that you've got. Again, you can highlight 50 skills, and those are the top skills: industry knowledge, tools, interpersonal, and other. I mentioned gin and tonic earlier. At one point, I actually put gin and tonic maker as one of my skills on my LinkedIn profile. But guess what? People spotted it and people sent me connection requests saying, oh, I see you've got gin and tonic on your profile. Tell me what's your favorite gin. And it gives me an opportunity to have a conversation with people, and who knows where that conversation will go. So you can list out your skills and you can see who gave you an endorsement for any particular skill. Now, let me ask you, if somebody has taken the trouble to endorse you for a particular skill, what do you think you should do next? Yes, say thank you. And most people agree that's right. If somebody endorses you for a skill, say thank you. But guess what? 99.9% of people on LinkedIn never bother to say thank you. Why don't they? Guess what happens when you say thank you? I've had financial advisors tell me the very first time they said thank you to someone for either endorsing them or even for looking at their profile, they ended up in a conversation that led to some substantial investment business being written. So what I'm saying here is do the human stuff. Yeah, do what human beings do in the real world. Just because you're on a bit of technology like LinkedIn or some other social media platform, we tend to think that manners go out the window. When you start using manners and common courtesies on social media, magic starts to happen. Arts skills. Let's have a look and see what skills Art's listed. See, Art is continuing his humour theme here, even into the skills section. And he's written invisible to women. The real cool thing is that 17 people have actually endorsed him for that skill. More patient than I should be with people who are stupid. But you can see there that his real skill is sales. That's what this is about. So Art is continuing his humour theme. He's taking the mickey out of himself, self-deprecating humour. He's continuing that throughout his profile. Very powerful it is too. Okay, so we've now got a perfect profile. We've done our keywords. We're ready to go. What do we do next? For most financial advisors, for most paraplanners as well watching this, and anybody else watching this, for most of you, it will depend on why you're on LinkedIn. So we go back to your plan. But for most of us, we want people looking at our profile, because people who look at our profile are potentially people we want to talk to. It's so important to remember. No one ever visits your profile by accident. They do it on purpose. And there's a whole bunch of reasons why they might have looked at your profile. In fact, when you get the slides, you might want to print this one out, because you do any of these things, and there's a few other things I could add to this. You do any of these things here could result in someone looking at your profile. See the birthday thing in the right-hand column there? It flashes up. You've seen this, haven't you? When you've been on LinkedIn, it says it's John's birthday today. Wish him happy birthday. And you might think, oh, I haven't seen John for a while. So you go have a look at their profile. It might be a job anniversary. All the stuff that we know about LinkedIn can result in somebody looking at our profile. And when they look at our profile, that is a great opportunity for us. So I mentioned that LinkedIn changes. We need to be on top of what is going on LinkedIn at any given moment in time. Right now, LinkedIn is rewarding people for behaving like normal human beings. The best kind of status updates are story-based. I'll give you an example of that in a minute. So going onto LinkedIn and typing out, check out my latest blog, click here, LinkedIn will penalize you for doing that kind of nonsense. What they want to hear is little snippets of your day-to-day life. Video status updates, okay? Record a video of yourself, upload it to LinkedIn. They love that. They will reward you for doing it. Comment on other people's content. That's almost the best thing you can do on LinkedIn right now. I know a lot of people get worried about compliance on social media and what have you. And when I say comment on other people's content, if you found somebody has posted about something, maybe about pensions or about mortgages on LinkedIn, all you need to do is to put "Great post, Sue, thanks for the heads up," or "Great post, John, I hadn't thought of that," and then add a couple of your hashtags. That's all you need to do. "Great post, Sue," or "I hadn't thought of that." Simple little stuff like that will get you profile views. LinkedIn will reward you for engaging with other people at a human level. LinkedIn's algorithm spots it. It spots people who are taking the trouble to comment on other people's stuff. Simple, really easy. Comment on niche content, comment in groups, live streaming video on company pages. Not everybody's got live streaming video enabled on their company page, but those people who do are getting astonishing results as a result of that. You can send text, you can send messages through the LinkedIn system. Well, a lot of people don't realize you can also send audio messages, and you can also send video messages through the app as well. You know, if you want to stand out from the crowd, you don't want to be a lookalike I was talking about earlier, then instead of sending normal messages to people, send an audio message. Just press a little button, record your message, let go of the button, it sends the message. Same goes for video as well. That will make you stand out from the crowd. I mentioned video status updates. Here's Richard McCann, mate of mine. He's really going to town on this. And he calls it a bulletin now, which is absolutely fantastic. Just a picture of a video of him, and it's so engaging. And he gets most of his speaking and training business as a result of telling story-based status updates or story-based videos on LinkedIn. And remember the picture of the elephant? That's the mobile equivalent. Send a picture of something interesting that's going on in your life, caption it, and that will get you views. There you go, voice messaging on LinkedIn. When you use the app, press the button and it sends a voice message. That will make you stand out from the crowd. Those of you who already know that you've already got clients on LinkedIn, this is a great thing to do. Go find your clients who are already on LinkedIn and say, oh, hi, John, how's things going during the lockdown? You know, they will appreciate that. Most important. LinkedIn Live, this is brand new. They're rolling it out. More and more people are going to get this. And it's super powerful. You will get massive increase in profile views when you start doing live videos. Company pages. I know some of you will have your own businesses, in which case you really should have a company page. And a lot of people ask me, so what do I put on my company page? Put exactly the same stuff on your company page that's on your personal updates as well. This is one of these features that LinkedIn has recently tarted up. They've upgraded it. So as a result, they want you to use it. And guess what happens? If you use it, they reward you. So if you put status updates on your company page, LinkedIn goes, oh, good, they're using our new feature, our tarted up feature. They will reward you by making you higher in the search results. They will reward you by making your posts more visible to more relevant people. If you do not have your own company page, you want to try and find your organization's company page. And to be quite honest, I would encourage you to engage with the content that your company is putting on it. They will thank you for that. And if they're not putting content on there, get in touch with them and say, why aren't you using your company page? Phil Calvert says that if you use it, you'll get more people looking at it. Now, here's a thing. I mentioned earlier the create a plan for other people. Update and create more products for your target market. Those of you that have known me quite a while will know that I'm the guy that wrote the seminar selling book. That's why I'm so passionate about this as a marketing tool. LinkedIn is a fantastic opportunity for you to highlight expertise that you have got. Remember I was talking about the value ladder a little bit earlier? If you have got a product, or you're not, just create something for your target market. So I wrote this book, Successful Seminar Selling. First thing I did when I went self-employed. But in the last year, I have upgraded and I've written a version just for financial advisors as well. So if financial advisors are my target market right now, they, at some point, I'm going to highlight this to them, but only after a conversation is quite well developed. So think about what expertise you have got and create a product. It's so important to do. I've got another book I've written, I think it's called 50 New Income Streams for Financial Advisors. And it essentially teaches you how to take the expertise that you have got and how to create other products and services that you can either give away to clients or sell to people. It's extremely valuable. LinkedIn is a very, very powerful tool for highlighting products and services that you have got, other products and services that you have got, and get it in front of them. Now, why is this important? It's important because you'll make money from it. I mentioned I've written about 20 books. One of my books, Successful Seminar Selling for Financial Advisors. Now, this isn't to show off. This is a look at a snapshot of my Amazon dashboard. Okay, in one day alone, the 1st of April, I sold best part of 50 copies of Successful Seminar Selling for Financial Advisors, and that's my royalties on it. And I can trace that back to a conversation I had with somebody who works for a network on LinkedIn. So if you can think about what expertise that you've got and start small, start with a little tips booklet or a little e-guide or something like that. You know, if you specialize, and let's use the heart surgeons example again, if your target market is heart surgeons in West London, then you could write a little e-guide. It needs only be a couple of pages long and turned into a PDF. It could be something like titled How Heart Surgeons in West London Can Increase Their Income in Retirement. 10 proven tips. Simple stuff like that. Now, I'm conscious that we're coming up on the 2-hour mark. I've got some more material, so I would love you to stick around. Again, if you have to jump off now, that's absolutely fine with me. We'll make sure that you get the video. But those of you who want to stick around, we've got some more. We haven't got a huge amount more, but I'll just make the point that we've hit the 2-hour mark. I'd love you to stick with me for some more. Here's another thing, this subscription service idea. There are more, I see this being talked about more and more in our Life Talk forum on Facebook. The ideas of financial advisors creating a service where people pay a subscription. And I know if you're a financial advisor and you've traditionally taken commission and now you're charging a fee and now people are talking about a subscription service, I would strongly recommend this book here, The Automatic Customer, and creating a subscription business in any industry, literally any industry. I've read this book a couple of times and it is absolutely awesome. Again, get yourself onto Amazon, get this book. It will open your eyes to a completely new way of running your financial advice business, or to find another way of running your financial advice business. SlideShare. I don't know if too many of you heard of SlideShare. SlideShare is like YouTube, but just for PowerPoint presentations. SlideShare is owned by LinkedIn. And if you have been doing some seminars as a financial advisor, or you've done a little workshop, or you've had a little client event, you can actually upload your slide deck to SlideShare. And well, it's got 80 million visitors each month. Google absolutely loves it. So it is another way to get your expertise out to the outside world. Yeah. So one of the things I used to do is I actually created a PowerPoint presentation that sits on my LinkedIn profile. And it is only designed to be read or looked at by people who are looking at my LinkedIn profile. And there's a whole bunch of different ways that you could do. You could create presentations just for, you could do a little thing, just meet the team, a little presentation, little PowerPoint presentation where you introduce people to the people who work in your business. Maybe you could do a little presentation around the social and environmental initiatives that you do in your business. So we're not giving financial advice, we're not doing financial promotions, we're just talking about life with you in your business, with your people, yeah? SlideShare gives you some stats. I've got 27 presentations on SlideShare and they show me the latest stats. I mean, I'll take 28,000 views any day. Thank you very much. I'll lay any money that that's got me business in the past, yeah? Another thing you might not know about LinkedIn, it is the most phenomenal resource of training videos. Now, this is a premium service, but right now during the lockdown, many of the videos are for free, particularly videos around how to work from home, yeah? How to engage with your colleagues, how to communicate with clients. There's a whole bunch of free, really high quality videos in LinkedIn Learning. Dig around on the LinkedIn site and you'll find a link to that. But equally, if you're a financial advisor that wants to share your expertise, you also can create videos that will be seen by tens of thousands of people on LinkedIn. The production values that they require are quite high, but it's another option for you to get your message out there. Now, knowing your numbers is absolutely critical. And LinkedIn gives you a variety of stats. They reset them every single Monday morning. And now, let me just throw this question at you randomly. Would you like to know the names and contact details of everyone who visits your website? And the answer is, of course you would. Now, I can't give you that, but LinkedIn can give you the next best thing, because LinkedIn shows you who has looked at your profile. In fact, they show you a variety of different things. How many viewed your profile, what they do, where they work, what they typed into the search box, and who's recently followed you. This is gold dust, this stuff. And it's so, so important that we know it. Now, here's a snapshot from a few weeks ago. On a Monday morning, LinkedIn told me that I'd appeared 583 searches. It shows me some of the companies that found me in the search results. So this is great. It shows me graphs of whether or not I'm going up or down as each graph goes by, as each day goes by. Useful to know. And then occasionally they throw in some interim stats. Now, this was a really interesting one for me. On one particular day, it said, you have shown up in search results 70 times in the past 3 days. So I'm thinking, great, I've obviously got my keyword strategy in kind of the right place. And then it goes on to say 12 people 12 of those 70 went on to view your profile. Now, to me, that's the more important number. Great that I appeared 70 times, but even better that 12 of them actually looked at my profile. So I throw the question open to you. Now that I know who these people are, because it shows me who they are, what do you think I should do next? What do you think I should do next now that I know that 12 people have looked at my profile? It's obvious. I've already told you. You should say thank you. And most people would agree that's a really good, courteous human thing to do. Hi, John. Thanks for taking a look at my profile today. I hope you found something of interest. I don't then say, are you looking for a speaker for your event? What I then do is either offer them something free. And one of the things I often say to them is, please let me know if I can connect you to anyone in my network. Now, 99 times out of 100, no one ever takes me up on that, but I'm offering them something with the expectation of nothing in return. Then I might say something like, can I ask what prompted you to take a look at my profile today? 9 times out of 10, people reply. And when they reply, we then have the opportunity to get a conversation going. It's dead easy, guys. To me, this is the single most valuable feature on LinkedIn, the bit that shows you who looked at your profile, because this is your opportunity to say thank you and to get a conversation going. Now, this is where we ought to mention premium LinkedIn versus free LinkedIn. On the free version of LinkedIn, you can see the last 5 people who looked at your profile, so which is great. So if you log in every day, chances are you'll always be up to date on who's looked at your profile. If you have even the cheapest version of premium LinkedIn, you get to see the last 90 days worth of people who looked at your profile. So you pay your money, take your choice. You can still see who looked at your profile, even on the free thing. But this is the bit where it all starts to pay off. You've written your LinkedIn plan. You've put your profile together. It's irresistible. You've said thanks to people who have wished you happy birthday, yeah? You've got your keywords going on. You've commented on other people's content. It's all designed to take people to this point here, where they look at your profile. And it's at that point that you then start to go into the normal mode when any other client gets in touch for the first time, whether they find you by email, whether they've been referred to. At some point, you've got to have a conversation with them, yeah? Why should you say thank you to people? I had a conference organizer look at my profile. I said, thanks for looking at my profile. This is what they sent back to me. I will lay any money that no other speaker said thank you. And we did that. We did that one. So important. Now, here's one script that I use. I'm going to send you a link at the end to one of my books, which has got a whole selection of different scripts. But if somebody looks at my profile and they want to connect with me, this is what I write. Yes, very happy to connect. Thanks for your interest. Please let me know if I can introduce you to anyone in my network. It's great that you found me on LinkedIn, because hundreds of my financial services connections are using my LinkedIn messaging and connection scripts. I mean, everyone loves a script. Yeah. Financial advisors like you are getting the scripts here. So I'm using social proof in there. Please pass on the link. Thanks again for your interest. There's actually quite a lot. On my workshops, I break this down, and there's a lot of copywriting technique going on there as well. Really, really important that you do that. Use their name. Very, very powerful stuff. Scripts work. Simple as that. Now, we're getting kind of near the end now, and I want to show you how we can start pulling this together. One of the things I've been talking about is how important common interests are. I mentioned right at the beginning the website called Academy. Remember that? Now, Academy was created in 1998 by this guy and his wife, Penny. This is Thomas Power and his wife, Penny Power. Thomas Power actually is a super connector. He can introduce you to anyone you want to meet in the world. He's a networker. He is a social networker. This guy here, created the profile page. And today he does workshops on social networking, little techniques on how to do this. And when the Academy website was first launched, there was a section where you could just literally write down your interests. So you could put golf, cricket, running, walking holidays. And one of his things he's interested in is corks. Yep, he's one of these sado people that collects corks. When you go to Thomas's house, he's got a room where we literally are wading through corks. Now, a really interesting thing happens when he's doing his training sessions. When he puts the word corks up on the whiteboard or whatever it is, there's usually a few people in the audience who snigger at that. He's one of those saddos that collects corks. But then he turns to people and says, just out of interest, is there anyone else in this room who collects corks? And guess what? At a room full of 50 to 100 people, there's always one person, 2 people who will put their hand up rather sheepishly that they collect corks. And then he says, does anybody here like Manchester United? And there's usually a couple of people put their hands up. Is there anybody here like walking holidays? A couple of people put their hands up. And he goes, oh, that's interesting. So there are people in this room who've got something in common. Now, when the next coffee break comes during his presentation, at the corner of his eye, he watches to see what happens. And guess what happens? Slowly but surely, the people who collect corks come together at the coffee machine. Slowly but surely, the people like walking holidays come together at the coffee machine. And yeah, the people like Manchester United, they come together by the coffee machine. Human beings, even human beings who don't know each other from Adam, are magically drawn to other human beings where you've got something in common. And I'm going to show you how you can use this to find ideal clients, okay? And I go back to Tina, and LinkedIn used to have an interest section as well. And this is a screenshot from when they used to have it. You can still do this. You don't need to actually have the section. And I remember saying to Tina once, Tina's Greek, and I was saying, what's the big issue in your business right now? What would you like to do? And she said, I need to try and find more financial advisors who kind of get what we do at Serenity Financial Planning. I said to her, pick a word off this list here. She says, all right, let's make it hard for you. Bouzouki, yeah, the stringed instrument we hear in the tavernas. So what we do is we click on the word bouzouki, or we type the word bouzouki into the search box on LinkedIn. And you can see this is an old version of LinkedIn. LinkedIn then finds everybody else on the site who's also got bouzouki in their profile, okay? It orders them with Tina at the top, and then it orders them by, the algorithm orders them by relevance. And look what happens. Immediately underneath Tina, there's a guy called Paul, a financial advisor in Cyprus, which was where she was born. Now, instantly, they've got three things in common. They've got bouzouki on their profile, they've got Cyprus in common, and they're financial advisors. Now, the financial advisors watching this webinar here today, you know what it's like when recruiters get in touch with you, yeah? You've been there, yeah? Now, let's say Tina wanted to talk to Paul about working with her. Do you think it would be easier for her to get Paul's attention if she refers to the things they've got in common, rather than just an out-of-the-blue cold message? Of course it would. Having something in common with people is really important. And let's show you how I've used this. Now, I do a bit of kickboxing, and I've used the word kickboxing to find me speaking opportunities in financial services. Now, I like to, if I can, I like to speak at big events, the annual sales conference for banks or networks, something like that. So let me see if I can find a speaking opportunity by typing in kickboxing, of all things, into the search box. So I type in kickboxing into the search box. LinkedIn shows me everybody else who's got kickboxing on their profile. Turns out there's 50,000 people. The first couple of pages are kickboxing instructors. I don't want a kickboxing instructor. I've already got one, yeah? He's pretty hardcore. So what I'm now going to do is I'm going to use the filters, and you can still do this to a certain extent on the free version of LinkedIn. I use the filters, and I add in London, let's make it hard for myself, and I choose financial services. LinkedIn redoes the search, and it now finds 128 people who've got kickboxing in their profile, they're in London, and they're in financial services. Now we're making progress. I mean, potentially I could talk to any of these people, but let's take Rui. I want to speak at a bank, so Rui's my man. Now, I'll lay any money. Rui's not the guy who runs the annual conference, okay? But he's my way in, okay? So I click on Rui's profile, and I have a closer look, and I try and find what else we've got in common. Well, we already know we've got two things in common. Kickboxing, financial services, and arguably London as well. So he won a bronze medal, European Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Championship, okay? So he's pretty hardcore as well. He's my way in, okay? So what message do you think I should send to Rui? Do you think I should send him this message? Answer, no. So let me ask you, why is it that 99.9% of people on LinkedIn send that bog standard, I'd like to add you to my professional network on LinkedIn? Why do people do that when it's not going to get their attention? What message do you think I should be sending Rui? I'm going to send him something like this. Okay, you get where I'm going with this. In fact, I did actually send this message to this guy. And I'm not going to say to him, can you introduce me to the person who books speakers for your conference? What I'm going to try and do is get this guy into a coffee shop at some point. We're going to talk about something we've got in common. okay, and kickboxing or whatever. We're going to probably talk about financial services as well, but this is where I'm going with this. Personalization, people by people, engage with people at a human level. I've had financial advisors tell me the very first time they customized messages to people, they ended up with new clients. So this stuff works, guys, okay? Customized, personalized, highly personalized. I do a bit of yoga as well, so I can do the same thing. Let's see if I can find a meeting planner by using the word yoga. So I type yoga into the search box. I get 650,000 results. I don't want yoga teachers. I've got one. So I then use the filters. I choose United Kingdom and I choose events services. You see that on the right there? Events services. LinkedIn redoes the search and it narrows it down to 420 people. That's 420 people who are event organizers and who do yoga. You see what I'm talking about here, yeah? I've got something in common. Anna there, Christian there, Rachel there, Meg there. They are fed up to the back teeth of speakers getting in touch with them on LinkedIn and say, could you book me for your next event? That's not how you do it, okay? You do it at a human level. You pick on something that you've got something in common. So it's really important as part of your planning on LinkedIn. You think, okay, what am I interested in life? Okay, I like walking. I like outdoor sports or something like that. Put that on your LinkedIn profile. However trivial you think it is, get it on there, okay? Groups are another place to find people that you've got something in common with. So if you're a financial advisor, you focus on people who are CEOs or board directors. There are 41,000 groups on LinkedIn that talk about leadership, 11,000 groups that talk about customer service, 35,000 groups that talk about sales. If you're interested in golf, there's a lot of groups where people talk about golf and fishing and wine and so on and so forth. I hope you're getting this, yeah? Look and use the tools that are on LinkedIn to find people who are like you, and it makes it very much more likely they will actually want to talk to you if you add value. Find them, engage with them, add value to them. This is what it's about. This is how you use LinkedIn, okay? I mentioned about sending messages. There's a lovely little tool that you can use called Very Fast. I think you've got to search Get Very Fast onto Google. It's a Chrome add-on for your browser. And what you can do is you can program into it some ready-made messages. So if you get my scripts from my LinkedIn book, you can just put those scripts in there and it will customize it with their name as well. And you use this, so you come across somebody, you've got something in common, put in a script that says, oh, I see we're both into kickboxing, or I see we're both into fishing, or I see we're both into whatever it is, yeah? And this tool will send that message for you. So if you want those scripts, this is what you need to search for on LinkedIn, LinkedIn Successful Financial Advisors. It's a quick read, you can get through it in about an hour, but it's got all the scripts in there that you will need to know. Now, scripts are one thing, but wouldn't it be great if you could customize it even further so that your message is tailored to the character of the individual? There is an astonishing piece of software called Crystal Knows. It uses artificial intelligence. And when you plug it into LinkedIn, and you can also plug it into your email as well. And when you type an email out to someone, or you send a message to someone on LinkedIn, Crystal Knows will sometimes sort of open up instantly in front of you and say, no, you don't want to use those words. This is a detailed person that you're writing to. You want to be a bit more detailed in your message. Or this person likes to beat around the bush a bit. This person is more a relationship person. You need to just soften your approach a bit on this. And the way Crystal Knows does is because it analyzes how people communicate and engage with each other across LinkedIn and other social media, and it can form a sort of picture of a person. So not only can you get scripts, but you can then fine tune those scripts so the wording that you're using is much more relevant to the individual you're writing to. Isn't that amazing? Okay, status updates, status posts. How do we do the perfect state? This is all algorithm driven, okay? The worst kind of status update is where you put, check out my latest blog and here's a link. Never do that, okay? People don't want that. LinkedIn doesn't want you. LinkedIn particularly doesn't want you to put links in your status updates because you are, albeit temporarily, encouraging people to actually click away from LinkedIn. LinkedIn wants you to keep people on LinkedIn, and they will reward you for engaging with people at a human level. So you put a status out there and the algorithm kind of gives you points. If it gets some likes, it will show it to a few more people. If it gets some comments, it will show it to a few more people. And it kind of, till you get this sort of viral thing starting to happen, yeah? Experiment with how you do this, but the best kind of status updates are story-based. Now, there's a guy, John Young, BBC journalist. This was for a few days ago. And this was a status update that he put on LinkedIn. So he did a video, first of all, but accompanying the video, he put "Gulp, a brief but startling tale of the unkindness of strangers as we grapple with coronavirus, with, I hope, an encouraging suggestion based on what it's taught me." So basically, he'd come off his BBC News shift. He went outside to get his bike to go home, and someone nicked his bike. So here we are in lockdown. He's doing his work. And he comes out and someone's nicked his bike. So all he did was tell that story. What I've just told you, he told that in a little video, and what we got, 170 likes. That was within a few seconds of it going up, 4,600 views. A big chunk of those will have gone on to visit his profile. 58 comments. So this works because it grabs people's attention. It creates curiosity. It's done on a video. It's timely, i.e. it's relevant to today's times. It's got a hint of emotion in there, yeah? There's a message, and he's included some hashtags as well. That's almost the perfect status update for LinkedIn. A short, simple story about humans. How hard is that to do, guys? Yeah? How hard is that? Here's one I did, okay? So this is a status update I put. An hour ago, I checked the price of parking at Gatwick as I'm speaking in Bulgaria next week, quoted 27 quid. Before booking it, I needed to go to the post office and then get a haircut. Just sat down to book the parking, and I'm now being quoted £52. Dope. Hashtag should have booked it earlier. That got me 1,200 likes, 227 comments. Now, you know what those comments were. You don't even need to have seen it to know what the comments were. They were all, "Oh, you should have booked it." You know, I know that, okay? And I got 23 people directly sending me messages. And I can't remember how many people actually looked at my profile. So, I mean, that's a status update. This is how you do this, guys, okay? Short, simple, observational stories about human beings. Simple stuff. Now, given that, one of the things you need to do now is to start switching on the little radar in your head, looking for things that are going on in your world. Now, we're in lockdown right now, so perhaps we're a little more limited by what we could do. But again, there's plenty on the news, there's plenty on websites that we could write about, yeah? Short, simple, observational stories are what works on LinkedIn. Really important. So tell stories. Try to avoid images, except on mobile. There's a little bit of evidence to suggest that if you put images in LinkedIn status updates via the desktop, they don't do as well as posts without images. Don't put links. Comment on other people's posts. That's almost the most powerful one of all right now. Literally simple stuff saying, "Great post, John." Put some hashtags and use video. Those are what works right now. You can also write articles and blogs on LinkedIn. It used to be that you could get thousands of views and likes simply by putting any old rubbish on there, but now articles mean just that. They need to be long and detailed, unique, based on research. They have your own view, not rehashing other people's views as well. If you've got the time to do that kind of stuff, they will get you a lot of views and a lot of profile views as well. If you're going to use images through the desktop, you've got to go for the jugular, okay? Now, I know a lot of people say that LinkedIn is beginning to look a bit like Facebook. My answer to that is get over it, okay? Because if you use this wisely, you will get people looking at your profile, okay? So this guy here, Max, put first day at work for Magnus, the new office dog. Look at that, 1,700 likes and 227 people got nothing better to do with their time than to comment on that, yeah? Cute stuff works on LinkedIn as well. This guy, Nick, runs a Bentley dealership. You can use 3 words to describe your thoughts on this green monstrosity, okay? Look at that, 1,300 people engaged with that particular post, okay? This is how you do it. You know, the guy sells cars, albeit upmarket cars, but he's told a simple human story in 1 sentence and a photo, okay? But it's a photo that's going to get people's attention. Here's one you might have seen. This is Emily, who was HR manager at Asda. This went viral, this one. Emily was walking down Leeds High Street. This is Patrick, he's 86, stopped me in these yesterday, asked me how my day was. He then asked if by chance I had time for a coffee. She cancelled her meetings, spent 2 hours with him, 230,000 likes. Now, Asda probably got some fairly tight social media policies, like many financial advisors have, okay? She probably broke a couple of those, but no one's going to tell her off for doing something human. No one's going to tell her off for posting it on LinkedIn. No compliance person is going to have any problem with you doing something like that. Follow the hashtag. This one's a little bit more advanced, but really powerful. I mean, this one is so powerful, it's ridiculous. Now, we mentioned we choose 3 hashtags, okay? And what I want to do is to just go over again this thing about commenting on other people's stuff. So you want to think about your hashtags, and let's go to the LinkedIn search box, and let's say hashtag mortgages is important to you. So what you do is you type in the search box, hashtag mortgages, you hit enter, and you get this screen come up. Hashtag mortgages has almost 8,000 followers. Now, if mortgages is important to you, you need to hit the follow button. So hit the follow button. Now, by hitting the follow button, you are sending a little message to the LinkedIn algorithm telling it that mortgages is something you have expertise in or something that you are interested in, yeah? You could do it with pensions as well. Type in hashtag pensions into the search box, hit the follow button. It's really important to hit the follow button, okay? Because that's you sending the message to LinkedIn that pensions is a topic that you're interested in, okay? You can do it with leadership, you can do it with customer service, whatever your bag, follow it, alert LinkedIn to what you're interested in or what expertise you've got. Now, let's just choose mortgages for sake of argument, okay? Let's say I have followed the mortgages hashtag. The LinkedIn homepage, when I hit the follow button, the LinkedIn homepage will change and only show me content related to mortgages, okay? And I can now scroll down that news feed, okay, which is only related to mortgages. And then what I do is, as I've just said, comment on other people's stuff. So maybe Sue has put a status update on LinkedIn and she's included hashtag mortgages in her status update or in her post, whatever it is. All you've got to do is put, great post, Sue, thanks for the heads up. Hashtag mortgages, hashtag. Simple as that. Leadership. Thanks for your post, Mike. Have you read John Smith's book on this subject? Highly recommended. Hashtag leadership. So alert LinkedIn to the topics you're interested in and then comment on other people's content. By doing this, you will massively, and I mean massively, increase the number of profile views that you get on your profile. And the profile views that you will get will be much, much more relevant to you. So really important. So hopefully you can see how this is all starting to come together now, yeah? Because coming together is really vital. And we're starting to wrap up. Have a plan. Please, please, please take this time while we're in lockdown, get the back of an envelope, get a piece of paper, whatever you like to write on, start sketching out what do you want to achieve on LinkedIn. Who are my perfect dream ideal clients? And then set up your profile accordingly, yeah? And then use the hashtags, use the search engine to find people, make your profile human and engage with other human beings at, guess what, a human level. Tell stories. Critical that you tell stories. Human beings are hardwired to listen to stories. When we lived in caves, we didn't, at the end of the day, we didn't sit watching a big plasma TV on the wall. We sat around a fire listening to stories, yeah? The story of the great hunt of our forefathers that went well, the hunt that went wrong. Human beings love stories. Human beings listen to stories that other human beings that they've never met before are telling. Use LinkedIn to tell stories, use your profile to tell a story, use your posts to tell stories, yeah? Use photos through the mobile app to tell stories as well. And get to the point where we're now looking at LinkedIn as an asset of your business, not just some social networking or social media tool that somebody told you ought to be using. This tool is ridiculously powerful. It will win you clients. It will add value to your existing clients. It will get you more referrals. There's a multitude of things that it will do. But like anything else in your business, if you've got assets of your business, you need to look after them. And by that, I mean use it, learn it, okay? Treat it seriously. So to sum up, be clear who you're targeting. Know them in excruciating detail, what they're worrying about, what they're thinking about, what are they caring about right now in lockdown, yeah? Be clear about what you're offering them. Understand and play to the LinkedIn algorithm so that you get their attention, yeah? And then start conversations that lead to your value ladder. Really, really important. Again, this is a rehash of a slide I showed you earlier. Your prospects are already on LinkedIn. If not, the people who can refer you to your prospects are already on LinkedIn. They're sitting there right now. They're on LinkedIn, okay? And during lockdown, LinkedIn is a lot busier than it used to be. Find them, okay? Divert their attention. Tell them your story. Have a conversation with them. Ultimately, eventually make them an offer. Okay, so I mentioned right at the beginning, we got a quiz. And the quiz question is, what is the single biggest mistake made by people on LinkedIn? What's the single biggest mistake that people are making on LinkedIn? I said the answer to that much, much earlier on. If you know the answer to that, send it to me, philip@philipcalvert.com, and I will pick a winner and I will send them a copy of this book. 382 pages, this book, absolutely packed full of LinkedIn, not just LinkedIn, but a multitude of marketing for financial advisors, old school marketing, high-tech marketing, and everything in between. So what's the single biggest mistake made by people on LinkedIn? Answer that question. I'll put you into draw and we'll pick a winner and we'll take it from there. If you're interested in other stuff, you'd like the book straight away, please take a look at Amazon and you can find these and other books there. So I hope you found this useful today. Hope you've enjoyed this bonus stuff as well. Thank you so much for your time and good luck during the lockdown, but now's the time to be planning and looking in forensic detail at our businesses and what we want to do when we come out the other side. So once again, thanks very much for watching today, everybody. I really appreciate it. Really appreciate your time. Those of you that have asked questions in the Q&A, I will get back to you personally because Zoom saves a list of these doing it. So thanks again, and we'll see everybody soon. Thanks a lot.